Abundance is not something you chase. It is something you align with. It is not earned by effort, but received by vibration. Every time you affirm abundance, you awaken the truth that was always yours. You were born rich in spirit, rich in opportunity, rich in divine inheritance. The universe does not respond to your longing. It responds to your knowing. When you affirm, "I am abundant," you are not asking. You are declaring truth. For God has already finished your prosperity in the unseen. Your words merely call it into view. So today, we will remember what the soul has forgotten, that abundance is your birthright, and affirmation is the bridge that carries it from the invisible into the visible. You are not here to survive. You are here to expand, express, and overflow. Before abundance can be seen, it must first be known. Before wealth can flow, it must first be recognized. The treasure of life does not begin with what your eyes see. It begins with what your heart believes. Every rich harvest starts as an invisible seed, and that seed is awareness. You cannot affirm abundance until you are aware that you are already standing in it. The air you breathe is abundance. The light that warms your face is abundance. The love that fills your heart, the peace that meets you in silence, the ideas that visit your mind. These are all proofs that you are surrounded by infinite good. God's supply is not something you chase. It is something you awaken to. So I say now with a calm, confident knowing, I am surrounded by infinite abundance. Everywhere I turn, I see evidence of God's overflowing supply. I am not searching for prosperity. I am remembering it. When you realize that abundance is not a thing, but a vibration, everything changes. You no longer look outside for confirmation. You look within for creation. The poor man and the rich man both stand beneath the same sun. The difference is not in the light. It is in their awareness of it. To affirm abundance is to open your eyes spiritually and say, I see what God has already given me. You may look at your life and see lack, but awareness transforms it. What you once called not enough becomes more than enough the moment you bless it. Speak now in gratitude. I bless the money I have. It multiplies as I bless it. I bless the work I do. It expands with ease and grace. I bless the opportunities before me. They grow as I recognize them. Well, everything expands when you become aware of it with love. Awareness is the divine spark that activates creation. As long as you focus on what's missing, the law of lack must answer. But the instant you shift your attention to what is present, the law of abundance awakens and begins to multiply your good. You cannot receive what you deny, so stop saying, I am broke, I am stuck, or I don't know how. These are not harmless words. They are affirmations of limitation. Your words form your awareness, and your awareness forms your world. Instead, declare with spiritual authority, I am the awareness of wealth. I am the consciousness of plenty. I am the living expression of divine abundance. The universe does not create based on effort. It creates based on awareness. It mirrors back not what you want, but what you know yourself to be. If you feel small, life contracts. If you feel worthy, life expands. If you feel abundant, everything aligns to prove you right. The law is precise as within, so without. So the first work of manifestation is not to change your circumstances, but to change your consciousness. Do not pray for more. pray to see more clearly. Pray not for new blessings, but for new vision to recognize what is already around you. For divine supply is not waiting to arrive. It is waiting to be acknowledged. And once acknowledged, it cannot be withheld. So I speak again, in faith and joy. I am aware that my life is filled with divine ideas. I am aware that my good is unfolding perfectly. I am aware that abundance is my natural state. Awareness turns struggle into serenity. Awareness turns waiting into witnessing. Awareness turns scarcity into satisfaction. When you awaken to this truth, even the smallest act becomes a sacred expression of prosperity. Paying a bill becomes a declaration of gratitude. Cooking a meal becomes a meditation on supply. Walking through nature becomes a reminder that increase is everywhere. Abundance is not earned. It is observed. You do not force it, you feel it. The whole of creation is abundance expressing itself. Your job is to be still enough to notice it. So take a breath now and feel it. The heartbeat of the universe, steady and sure. The rhythm of your own breath, calm and sufficient. The knowing that you are provided for in ways unseen and seen. Say softly, but with conviction. I am aware that life loves me. I am aware that I am always guided, always supported, always supplied. I am aware that my abundance has already begun. And in that awareness, the unseen begins to move. Doors you didn't knock on will open. Ideas you never planned will appear. People you didn't expect will arrive, carrying answers. For abundance is not a goal, it is a realization. And once realized, it never leaves you. So stay aware, stay grateful, and stay aligned with truth. For the law has already gone forth, and it will not return void. You are abundant now. You have always been abundant. You will forever be abundant, because you are one with the source of all that is. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now, under grace, in perfect ways. Every word you speak is a decree. Every thought you repeat becomes law. The universe listens not to your intentions, but to your utterances. It takes every word as a command and rushes to fulfill it. When you say, I am blessed, creation bows to that truth. When you say, I am struggling, creation fulfills that command. For words are not mere sounds. They are spiritual vibrations that form matter. So I remind you, your words are the brushstrokes of your destiny. Your speech paints the life you live. Every sentence is either building your palace of abundance or the walls of your limitation. Speak wisely, for the law never sleeps. Speak faithfully, for the law always obeys. I am rich in ideas. I am prosperous in action. I am overflowing in every good thing. Each of these affirmations is a spiritual seed. You may not see its growth immediately, but the moment it leaves your lips in faith, the soil of the universe begins to move. Invisible forces gather around your decree, shaping and forming it into visible results. Never underestimate a single word. 1. I can. Spoken in certainty can dissolve 1,000 I can'ts, rooted in fear. 1. I am supplied. Can reverse years of struggle. 1. It is done. Can move mountains that logic could not. The spoken word is divine power made audible. It is God's language moving through human form. You were given speech not just to communicate, but to create. When you say, you are abundant, you are not lying. You are remembering your original truth, that the universe itself lives within you, waiting for your permission to expand. Say it again now, slowly and with power. I am abundant. I am magnetic to prosperity. I am the voice through which divine supply expresses. Feel the vibration move through your body. Your cells listen. Your environment listens. Even your circumstances begin to rearrange themselves around the new command. For the law of the spoken word is unbreakable. What you speak consistently, you will eventually live. So if your life has been filled with struggle, do not blame fate. Examine your language. How often have you declared limitation in casual conversation? How often have you called things hard, expensive, impossible? Every careless word is a seed planted in the garden of your life. But here is the grace: you can plant new ones today. You can uproot old words of fear and sow new declarations of faith. You can speak your way into new worlds. So say, my words now align with divine truth. Everything I say is charged with increase. My speech blesses, multiplies, and manifests good. If you desire to change your world, begin by changing your words. For speech is the doorway between the invisible and the visible. When you speak abundance, you build a bridge between thought and form. When you affirm peace, you invite harmony into your atmosphere. When you declare love, you magnetize people and opportunities of the same vibration. You are a divine broadcasting station, and your words are the frequency. Tune your language to wealth, joy, and gratitude, and everything unlike them will fade away. Do not say someday. Say no. Do not say, I will be. Say, I am. For spirit works in the present tense, not the future. The moment you affirm, I am prosperous, the law begins arranging your life to match that vibration. Even when appearances contradict your words, do not withdraw your declaration. The invisible is faster than the visible. Keep affirming until the unseen becomes seen. Say it again. My words are divine commands. My voice is charged with creative power. What I speak with faith, I see with joy. The angels of manifestation move at the sound of your voice. Every word of faith becomes a light that guides unseen forces into place. So speak boldly, lovingly, and deliberately. Never let gossip, complaint, or self-pity escape your mouth, for these are seeds of delay. Instead, fill your speech with life, and your life will become full. Bless your money. Bless your journey. Say aloud every morning, everything I speak prospers. Every word I utter is law of increase. My voice is the sound of abundance made manifest. The universe cannot resist such a vibration. For faith-filled words are not sound waves. They are creation waves. They ripple across the unseen and return as visible success. Speak as one who knows. Speak as one who already has. Speak as one who carries divine authority. And as you do, heaven will echo your decree. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now, under grace and in perfect ways. Gratitude is the secret door through which more good enters. Every thank you you speak is a key that unlocks unseen treasures. The ungrateful heart lives in darkness, not because light is absent, but because its eyes are closed. The grateful soul walks in constant dawn, seeing miracles in every moment, hearing blessings in every breath. Gratitude is not a reaction. It is a vibration. It is not what you feel after receiving. It is what you feel before. When you give thanks for the invisible, you make it visible. When you praise before you possess, you magnetize possession. So I say now, I am thankful before I see. I am grateful before I receive. My gratitude multiplies everything it touches. The law of increase is simple. What you bless expands. If you bless your money, it grows. If you bless your work, it prospers. If you bless others' success, you join their vibration of abundance. But if you curse or complain, the flow contracts. Every complaint is an affirmation of lack. Every word of bitterness is a signal of scarcity. And every thought of envy blocks the current of divine circulation. So I choose gratitude, not because everything is perfect, but because perfection is forming through everything. When things seem slow, I give thanks that divine timing is protecting me. When I face delays, I thank the universe for rearranging the path for my good. When I lose something, I say, thank you. Something greater is already on its way. I bless the money that leaves my hand. It returns multiplied, under grace. Every dollar I spend blesses the world and comes back tenfold. The grateful heart is never empty. It cannot be, for it lives in constant awareness of abundance. It looks around and says, everything I need, I already have. And what I have, I bless. And that blessing becomes multiplication. Even in the smallest things, the breath you take, the roof above you, the hands that work, the food that nourishes. Gratitude opens invisible gates of increase. It says to the universe, I am ready for more. And the universe replies, then more shall be given. Gratitude is not about numbers. It is about vibration. You can have a little and be rich in spirit. You can have a lot and still be poor in consciousness. But the moment you give thanks, you shift into spiritual wealth. Say aloud now, slowly. I am grateful for my life. I am grateful for my growth. I am grateful that abundance flows to me easily. Each word is a seed of increase, and the soil of the universe is fertile for those who bless it. There is no such thing as not enough for the grateful mind. Gratitude turns the ordinary into overflow. You cannot be thankful and fearful at the same time. Fear closes the hand, gratitude opens it. Fear says, I must hold on. Gratitude says, I trust divine supply. And what you trust, you attract. So every morning, I rise and say, thank you, God, for this new day of opportunity. Thank you for perfect health, perfect peace, and perfect provision. Thank you for the increase that is happening now, even if I cannot yet see it. And with every word, I feel the vibration shift. My energy lightens, my heart expands, my awareness widens, and the invisible begins to take form. Gratitude multiplies not by arithmetic, but by divine geometry. A single thank you, spoken in truth, can multiply 1,000-fold. One genuine blessing can change the current of your life. The law of life is eternal circulation. What you appreciate appreciates. When you praise something, you raise it in vibration. And in doing so, you lift yourself. So I bless the work before me, the path behind me, and the good unfolding ahead of me. I bless my challenges, for they reveal my strength. I bless my waiting seasons, for they deepen my faith. I bless my victories, for they prove divine law. And as I bless, I grow. As I thank, I attract. As I praise, I multiply. Thank you for the abundance I have. Thank you for the abundance coming. Thank you for the abundance that has always been. Gratitude is heaven's language. When you speak it, all creation answers. The mountains echo your thanks, and the seas sing your joy. Every living thing responds to the vibration of a grateful heart. So walk today with thanksgiving on your lips. Let thank you be your prayer, your protection, and your prosperity. For gratitude is the key that unlocks every gate of good. And when your thanks rise higher than your worries, the floodgates of supply open wide. Say with me now as truth and decree: I live in gratitude. I think in gratitude. I attract by gratitude. And my gratitude multiplies all that is mine. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now, under grace in perfect ways. Faith is the unseen wealth that builds every visible fortune. Before there is gold in the hand, there must be faith in the heart. Before there is a harvest in the field, there must be belief in the seed. Faith is the invisible currency that purchases all good things. You may not see the supply yet, but faith knows it exists. You may not touch it yet, but faith already celebrates its arrival. For faith does not wait for evidence. It creates it. Faith does not ask, how? It declares now. Must say softly, yet with conviction, my faith is my fortune. I walk by divine sight, not by circumstance. What I believe, I soon behold. A faith is the bridge between thought and thing. It connects the invisible world of spirit to the visible world of matter. It is the sacred certainty that what you have asked for in love and alignment already exists in the unseen, waiting for your recognition. When you stand in faith, you stand in divine order. When you waver in fear, you delay what is already yours. Faith says, it is done. Fear says, what if it doesn't happen? And the universe responds according to the stronger voice. So feed faith, not fear. Speak belief, not doubt. Stand still in truth until manifestation catches up to your vibration. I am rooted in unshakable faith. Everything I need is forming now, perfectly and on time. I trust divine timing, for it never fails. A faith is the unseen hand that moves mountains. It does not beg, it decrees. It does not rush, it rests. It does not question, it knows. The mind may say, I see no progress. Faith replies, the roots are growing beneath the soil. The senses may say, there is no proof. Faith answers, the proof is in the unseen, not yet revealed. You may not understand the delay, but faith knows there is divine order in every pause. Sometimes the universe waits for alignment, for the perfect condition, the perfect time, the perfect readiness of your heart. Faith trusts that unseen orchestration. Say aloud now, even when I cannot see the way, I know the way is being prepared. Even when I cannot hear the answer, I know it has already been given. Even when I cannot hold the result, I know it is held in spirit for me. A faith is the divine vision that sees through appearances. It looks at lack and calls it temporary. It looks at emptiness and calls it preparation. It looks at impossibility and calls it opportunity. You cannot buy faith, you must practice it. Every time you choose to trust instead of worry, your faith grows stronger. Every time you bless instead of fear, your faith grows richer. And soon, faith becomes your spiritual inheritance, your invisible gold. The wealth of the world may rise and fall, but faith never devalues. It cannot be stolen, taxed, or lost. It is your eternal capital. Spend it daily, and it will multiply endlessly. Say with authority, my faith is active now. My faith opens every door that fear once closed. My faith draws to me divine ideas, divine supply, and divine success. Faith does not look for signs. It is the sign. Faith does not wait for confirmation. It is confirmation. When faith is present, the outcome becomes inevitable. Even when life tests you, faith whispers, "Hold your ground." Even when others doubt you, faith says, "God never fails." Even when nothing seems to move, faith reminds you that movement has already begun. In silence, beneath the surface, in the realm of spirit, you are never without evidence, only without sight. For unseen forces are working in your favor, responding to your vibration of certainty. The law hears your faith and obeys without question. So keep affirming. Everything I desire is already mine. My faith makes it real. What I believe in love must appear in divine order. When you doubt, delay begins. When you trust, release happens. When you praise, manifestation accelerates. Faith is not blind, it is prophetic. It sees beyond time, beyond logic, beyond limitation. It knows that what God has spoken cannot return void. And so I rest in that knowing. I walk as one who already possesses. I speak as one who already receives. I live as one who already has. Faith is my daily bread and my spiritual currency. With it, I purchase peace before the problem ends. With it, I receive abundance before the bank account reflects it. With it, I claim healing before the body feels it. Because faith is not a future promise. It is a present power. It is the invisible cause that guarantees a visible effect. So say this once more, until it settles into your bones. I am rich in faith. I spend faith freely, and it always returns multiplied. My faith is my fortune, my shield, and my song. And the universe, hearing that vibration, begins to rearrange all things for your highest good. You do not need to figure out how. You only need to affirm now. Faith moves the invisible hands of creation, and they will not fail you. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now. Under grace, in perfect ways. Giving is the sacred breath of abundance. As you exhale, you make room to inhale again. As you release, you prove to the universe that you trust its rhythm of return. For life is not a closed fist. It is an open hand, forever giving and receiving. Many fear giving because they believe they will lose. But you can never lose what comes from divine source. Whatever you give with love returns multiplied, for the law of circulation cannot be broken. So I say now with faith and calm assurance, I give with joy, and it returns to me multiplied under grace. I am a channel, not a container, of divine supply. The more I give, the more flows through me. Giving is not measured by size, it is measured by spirit. It is not how much you offer, but how freely you release it. Even a smile given sincerely is a seed of prosperity. Even a kind word sown in love returns as blessing. When you give from fear, you cut the flow. When you give from faith, you expand it. When you give reluctantly, you declare lack. When you give joyfully, you declare infinite supply. So I bless every act of giving, large or small. Each one whispers to the universe, I trust you completely. And trust is the magnet of miracles. Money is energy. It was never meant to be hoarded. It was meant to circulate. Just as the river stays alive by moving, your prosperity stays alive by flowing. When you release it in love, it returns purified, multiplied, and sanctified. When you give, you become one with the law of abundance. For God Himself is the giver, and to give is to reflect His nature. When you give joyfully, you are saying, I am like my source, limitless, generous, overflowing. So say with faith, I give freely, for I know my source never runs dry. Every dollar I release blesses and returns multiplied. The universe rushes to refill every space I empty with grace. Do not give to get, give to grow. For true giving is never a bargain, it is a blessing. You are not purchasing favor. You are participating in divine law. When you help another rise, you rise with them. When you give peace, peace fills your home. When you send love, love circles back 1,000-fold. The giver and the receiver are one in divine substance. You cannot bless another without blessing yourself. You cannot pour into others without being refilled from above. So give time, give prayer, give service, give understanding, and let it all be wrapped in gratitude. The universe keeps perfect accounts, and nothing given in love is ever lost. If fear whispers, you can't afford to give, faith answers, I can't afford to stop the flow. If doubt says, what if it doesn't return? Spirit replies, the law of circulation never fails. You cannot outgive God. Every seed of generosity is planted in eternal soil. And though you may not see it sprout immediately, it will bloom in perfect time, through perfect channels. Say with calm confidence, all that I give comes back to me multiplied. I give in faith, and I receive in joy. My giving blesses all it touches, and returns pressed down and running over. Even the smallest act done in love expands the circle of your abundance. A word of encouragement, a prayer for another, a coin shared in gratitude. Each is a thread in the tapestry of divine supply. Every time you give, you prove your belief in infinite abundance. You say to the universe, there is always more where that came from. And the universe, hearing that vibration, answers, indeed there is. The miser holds tight and feels poor. The giver opens wide and feels rich. The hand that clutches cannot receive. The hand that releases cannot help but be filled again. So I keep my hands open, my heart light, my spirit generous. I am not afraid of loss, for I know the source. My wealth is not in my wallet, it is in my faith. My riches are not in possession, they are in circulation. Let these words anchor deep. The more I give, the more I have. The more I share, the more I receive. I am a perfect channel for God's prosperity to flow through. When you live by this law, giving becomes joy. You no longer measure or count, because you know every release invites return. You live in divine rhythm. Inhale and exhale, receive and release, gather and give. And in that rhythm, you find peace. In that flow, you find freedom. In that giving, you find God, for He gives through you. And as you endlessly. So bless your gifts before they leave your hand. Say quietly, this returns to me multiplied. Bless those you help. Bless those who help you. Bless even those who cannot give. For they are mirrors of your own expansion. Every act of generosity creates another circle of light in the universe. And in time, those circles return, surrounding you in radiant supply. It is divine law, and divine law never fails. I give with joy. I receive with grace. I circulate with peace. And so, abundance flows through me, endless as light itself. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now, under grace, in perfect ways. Action without intuition is effort without direction. Movement without guidance is noise without melody. When you act in fear, you labor. When you act in faith, you flow. The difference between struggle and success is not in what you do, but in when and why you do it. For timing is divine, and intuition is the voice of that timing. You were never meant to chase. You were meant to be led. The same power that keeps the stars in orbit also directs your steps. When Spirit says, go, the path is already cleared. When Spirit says, wet, preparation is taking place. Say with calm knowing, I move only when Spirit moves through me. My timing is divine and perfect. Every action I take is guided by infinite intelligence. You are not here to force outcomes. You are here to follow inspiration. The mind calculates, the spirit knows. Intuition is the compass that never lies. It whispers softly, never shouts, yet its voice is sure. Sometimes the ego urges you to quickly to prove, to fix, to control. But intuition says, be still. For stillness is power in disguise. It is in silence that Spirit gives instruction, and one clear act from guidance accomplishes more than 100 rushed decisions made in fear. So, I trust divine nudges more than human logic. I pause long enough to hear the whisper of right action. When I move in alignment, all things move with me. You cannot hear guidance when you are busy doubting. Faith clears the static, peace tunes the frequency. The inner voice will not compete with noise. It waits patiently for your stillness. And when you become quiet, you will hear the truth that has been speaking all along. Intuition is the hand of God on your shoulder. It will never lead you into fear. It may lead you through discomfort, but never into destruction. When intuition directs you, even obstacles become stepping stones. Spirit goes before me to prepare my path. Every opportunity meant for me comes with peace. I am never late. I am always right on divine time. Action without alignment is like rowing against the current. But when your heart and spirit agree, the current carries you effortlessly. Doors open without knocking. People arrive without asking. Ideas unfold without forcing. You do not need to manipulate outcomes. You need only to be in tune. For when the inner is aligned, the outer must obey. Say aloud, I am in divine harmony with every step I take. My inspired actions create miraculous results. I am led from one perfect moment to the next. When you follow inner guidance, you stop chasing blessings. They begin to chase you. You no longer worry about opportunity. Opportunity begins to seek you. You no longer strive for success. Success becomes your natural response to obedience. The world may call it instinct, but the soul calls it revelation. It is not random. It is the map of spirit unfolding through you. You were not designed to guess your way through life. You were designed to be guided. So listen not only with your ears, but with your peace. If an idea brings pressure, it is not from God. If a direction brings clarity and quiet joy, it is divine. Peace is the signature of right action. Follow peace, and you will never lose your way. Every step I take is blessed. Every path I choose is guided. Every door I enter leads to good. Sometimes, divine direction will tell you to rest. Not because you are behind, but because heaven is rearranging your path ahead. Sometimes it will ask you to release what you thought was certain, to make space for something far greater. And though your mind may not understand, your spirit knows. It always knows. You are being led in ways beyond your comprehension. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is random. Every delay is a form of divine protection. Every pause is preparation for promotion. So be calm, be still, be ready. For the same hand that plants the seed knows when it is time for harvest. Say now, with reverence and truth, I trust my inner guidance completely. I move only when peace leads me. Every inspired action carries infinite support. When you live by this rhythm, fear fades. When you wait in faith, time aligns. When you act in obedience, heaven rushes to assist you. For divine timing never fails. It is the unseen clock of creation, ticking perfectly in your favor. You need not struggle to make things happen. You need only surrender to their appointed hour. And when that hour comes, everything will unfold with grace, speed, and ease. You will look back and say, it all happened at the perfect time, in the perfect way. It always does. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now, under grace, in perfect ways. You are not on a journey to become abundant. You are the journey itself, the path, the source, the abundance in motion. Abundance is not something you seek. It is what you already are when you remember your divine nature. To affirm abundance is to awaken your true self, the part of you that has never lacked, never feared, never wanted. It is to live as the presence of God expressing through you. You are not praying for supply. You are praying from supply. You are not calling it in. You are calling it forth. Say softly, yet with divine authority, I am the presence of abundance. I live in the vibration of wealth, love, and divine provision. Everything I need flows through me in perfect sequence. When you truly live as abundance, lack cannot remain. It dissolves like shadow before sunrise. For you no longer affirm absence, you affirm presence. You no longer speak of waiting. You speak of unfolding. You no longer look for miracles. You become one. The rich soul is not measured by numbers but by knowing. It walks into every situation saying, I bring the blessing here. It knows that prosperity is not in possessions, but in consciousness. The one who knows they are abundance never fears loss, for they are the source of supply itself. I am not dependent on money. Money is dependent on me. I am not sustained by work. Work is sustained by my faith. I'm the divine idea of prosperity made visible. To live as abundance is to move through the world in quiet certainty. It is to know that your mere presence uplifts, multiplies, and heals. You walk into a room and worry softens. You speak a word and things begin to align. For where abundance walks, peace follows. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to express it. You are not here to collect blessings. You are here to radiate them. You are not here to survive. You are here to overflow. Say aloud with conviction, I am abundance walking. I am the channel of divine increase. Where I go, prosperity grows. Every breath you take affirms wealth. Every heartbeat declares sufficiency. The life within you is proof you live in infinite supply. God's breath is your breath. His rhythm is your rhythm. His wealth is your inheritance. You do not need to wait for better circumstances to feel abundant. You only need to align your awareness with what already is. When you live as abundance, the universe rearranges itself around your truth. You magnetize opportunities, friendships, and miracles that match your vibration. You move through life effortlessly, for you are no longer chasing. You are choosing. I live from fullness, not from fear. I act from overflow, not from need. I speak from creation, not from concern. Living as abundance means trusting that every step is guided, every need is met, every door is timed. It means walking by faith while radiating certainty. It means turning ordinary days into sacred demonstrations of divine provision. You eat with awareness of blessing. You work with awareness of purpose. You rest with awareness of completion. For abundance does not begin when you achieve. It begins when you acknowledge. And acknowledgement turns the invisible kingdom into visible form. So I remind you now, you are not a beggar before the universe. You are its beloved co-creator. You were never meant to plead for blessings. You were born to command them. With love, not force, with faith, not fear. Say this slowly and let it root deeply in your being. I am abundance made manifest. I am one with the source that never runs dry. My life is divine overflow in every direction. When you live from this truth, everything you touch expands, your words uplift, your actions prosper, your presence transforms. For you are not separate from the river. You are the river. You are not outside of the law. You are the law expressing itself in human form. You are not hoping for supply. You are the supply in motion. Even when appearances tremble, you remain anchored in truth. Even when others doubt, you remain steady in knowing. Even when circumstances shift, you remain rooted in divine certainty. I am always cared for. I am always supported. I am always supplied. The presence within you is unfailing. It never withholds, never forgets, never falters. It is the endless spring that flows without effort. When you rest in that presence, abundance ceases to be a goal. It becomes your nature. You no longer affirm to attract. You affirm to remember. You no longer ask for more. You simply allow the more that was already yours. Now say this final decree, the affirmation that seals all truth in your consciousness. I live as divine abundance. I walk in grace. I speak in faith. I give in joy. Every thought I think, every word I speak, every step I take is filled with prosperity, peace, and power. I am the proof that abundance is real. And so it is. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now, under grace, in perfect ways.
Stop for a moment and listen. I want you to know something today. You are not behind, you are not late, and you have not missed your chance. The world has taught you to measure yourself by clocks and calendars, by deadlines and comparisons. But I tell you, heaven's clock runs on a rhythm far higher than man's schedule. In divine order, there is no delay. What belongs to you by right of spirit arrives in your life at the precise moment it can bless you most, not 1 second before and not 1 second after. I speak this truth to break the spirit of frustration, of anxiety, and of despair that whispers to you, "It's too late." No, dear one, it is never too late in God's plan. Every blessing is an appointment already written, and appointments in heaven's book cannot be missed. Think of a train station. You may pace the platform with nervous steps, watching the clock, growing impatient because the train has not yet arrived. Others may rush past you on different trains, and you wonder why yours is not here. But in truth, that train has its own time, its own track, and it will not arrive early, nor will it be late. When it comes exactly when it is meant to. So it is with the blessings of your life. Divine order is the timetable of God's universe, and the train of your good is never delayed. It only appears delayed when you do not understand the perfect precision of spiritual law. So many of you live with regret, saying, "If only I had done this sooner, if only I had known earlier, if only I had not missed that chance." Let me say this with power and certainty. You did not miss it. You were simply being prepared. Every step, even the ones that looked like detours, were laying down the tracks for the train of your blessing. You think it was wasted time, but in heaven there is no waste, no accident, no delay. The invisible work was happening behind the scenes. Just as the farmer does not accuse the seed of being late while it germinates in the soil, neither should you accuse yourself or life of being behind. The seed is on time, and so are you. I once had a student who longed for a position, but every door seemed closed. Weeks turned into months, and she grew discouraged, believing she had been forgotten. But I told her, in divine order, nothing is ever late. The right door will open at the right time. And so it was when her position came. It was not only better than the one she had desired, but it came with benefits she had not even imagined. She realized then that if the first door had opened earlier, she would have accepted less than God intended. Timing is not a punishment, it is a protection. Delay is not denial, it is divine preparation. You must guard your words. Never say, "I am too late, I am behind, my chance has passed." For by those words, you sign a false contract in the unseen, telling the universe to lock doors that were meant for you. Instead, affirm, "I am in perfect timing. My good comes quickly and easily, but never too soon and never too late. What is mine cannot be delayed." When you speak this way, you align yourself with the divine rhythm. And when your words agree with heaven's order, the whole universe conspires to bring your blessing into view. Let me give you another picture. Imagine a symphony orchestra. The violins have their part, the drums have their part, the flutes have their part. Each instrument enters not all at once, but at the appointed measure. If the trumpet were to play before its time, the music would be chaos. But when each waits for its moment, the sound is glorious. So too, your life is a symphony. There are measures where one thing must play before another can enter. To cry out, "I am late," is to misunderstand the music. You are not late. You are an instrument waiting for your perfect measure. Trust the conductor. The divine knows the score. When you walk in this understanding, peace replaces panic. You stop envying others. You stop fearing loss. You stop rushing blindly. You learn to rest in the assurance that everything in your life is unfolding with precision. Your relationships, your money, your opportunities, they have not passed you by. They are simply waiting for the measure where they will harmonize perfectly with all else. To doubt this is to accuse God of disorder, and there is no disorder in divine mind. Some of you are listening now, and you are weary. You say, "I've prayed for years, but nothing has changed." I tell you, it has changed, but in the unseen. The receipt has already been signed in heaven, the package already dispatched. Just because the delivery van is not in sight does not mean it is not on the way. Many blessings arrive at the last hour, so you may learn trust and faith instead of fear and control. Your role is not to time the delivery, but to keep the space ready. Would you leave your door locked if you knew a guest was on their way? No, you would unlock it, set the table, prepare with joy. Do the same with your blessings. Act as if they are already en route. Prepare your life for them. In doing so, you magnetize the arrival. There is a reason Scripture says, "At the appointed time, it will come to pass." Appointment means it was scheduled before you were even aware of it. You cannot rush it, and you cannot miss it. What is yours will not pass you by. The only way to appear late is to believe in lateness and thereby close your own door. Stop rehearsing your age, your delays, your regrets. In spirit, you are ageless, timeless, always on schedule. Speak this truth until your heart believes it. I cannot miss what is mine. It arrives in perfect timing under grace. Beloved, I want to tell you something bold. Even your so-called mistakes are not late. Even the seasons you call wasted were woven into the design. The divine has a way of redeeming time, of folding your detours back into the path, like an artist turning an accidental brushstroke into part of the masterpiece. God wastes nothing. You think you are late because you compare yourself with others, but do not measure yourself against another's path. They are playing a different part in the symphony. Their train is not yours, their appointment not yours. Your timing is perfect for your blessing, and theirs is perfect for theirs. The law of perfect timing is freedom. Freedom from the tyranny of clocks, freedom from the prison of regret, freedom from the whip of comparison. It allows you to walk in peace, knowing that you cannot be left behind. The only true lateness is unbelief. But the moment you shift your belief, the moment you align your words with truth, the divine conductor lifts his hand, and the music moves forward once again. So hear me well, you are not late, you are right on time. Heaven's book has not crossed your name out. The page with your blessing is already written. It will unfold at the perfect moment. Trust, speak rightly, prepare with joy, and rest in peace. For nothing is ever late in divine order. Beloved, let me draw you closer to a truth many forget. The reason you feel late is not because heaven has failed, but because your human eyes mistake silence for absence. Your human mind looks at clocks, sees the progress of others, and concludes, I must be behind. But the spiritual world does not run on clocks. The divine does not measure your blessing by how many birthdays you have passed, or how many seasons you have waited. The only reason you believe you are delayed is because you measure with a human yardstick instead of a divine one. Think of the caterpillar. When it crawls, it may look at the birds flying and say, I am late. I was meant to fly. But the truth is, the caterpillar is not late. It is simply in another stage of its perfect order. It must rest in the cocoon before it can break forth with wings. If it judges itself too soon, it will despise its crawling, despise its waiting, and miss the beauty of its transformation. So too, many of you despise your cocoon seasons. You think you are delayed because you have not yet spread your wings. But I tell you, you are not late, you are transforming. The human mind struggles with waiting. It is restless. It fears it will be forgotten. This fear is the true delay, not the absence of the blessing, but the presence of doubt. The blessing is moving toward you, but doubt clouds your eyes so that you cannot see its approach. Impatience makes you abandon your station just as the train is about to arrive. Many blessings have knocked at doors only to find the owner left in despair, certain they had been abandoned. But if you would stay, if you would keep the lamp of faith burning, the blessing would walk right in. I once knew a woman who prayed for a home. She grew weary because months passed and nothing appeared. She began to say, "It is too late for me. Perhaps God has forgotten." I told her, "Do not speak this way. Every word is a seed. If you sow despair, you reap delay." She repented of her words and began to affirm daily, "My perfect home is already prepared. I receive it under grace in perfect timing." Not long after, a door opened so easily it astonished her. The home was not only perfect, but it came at a price she could afford. She wept with gratitude, realizing it had never been late. It had been waiting for her to align her words with faith. Words, dear ones, are keys to timing. Fear says, "I am behind." Faith says, "I am right on time." Fear rushes and grasps. Faith rests and receives. The reason many feel late is because they use their tongue to curse their own season. They repeat to themselves, "I should be further by now. Others are ahead. I am too old. I wasted time." And the universe, which always obeys the spoken word, echoes back, "Yes, you are late." Not because it is true, but because you have written it into law with your tongue. If you want to feel the flow of divine timing, you must guard your speech. Speak not of lateness, but of order, not of missed chances, but of divine appointments. Another reason humans feel delayed is comparison. You see another person married when you are still single. You see another wealthy while you are still praying for provision. You see another achieving what you long for, and you say, "I am behind." But do you not see? Their season is not yours. Their train is not your train. If you judge yourself by their timetable, you will always feel late. But if you judge yourself by divine order, you will realize that your life is unfolding exactly as it must for your unique purpose. Flowers do not all bloom in the same month. The rose does not accuse itself for not blooming with the daisy. Each has its own season, and when its time comes, the earth is adorned with beauty. So too, your season will bloom, and all will marvel at its fragrance. There is also pride hidden in the feeling of delay. Pride whispers, "I know the best time. If it has not happened by now, it is wrong." But who are you to instruct the divine clock? You see only one page, but God holds the entire book. You know only today, but Spirit has prepared your tomorrow. To insist that you are late is to accuse heaven of negligence. It is to suggest that divine mind is careless with its children. But the truth is, the universe is precise, exact, mathematical in its timing. Stars do not fall out of place. Planets do not collide in chaos. Everything moves with perfect precision. And so does your life. To trust this is humility. To doubt this is pride. I want you to imagine something. Suppose you order a beautiful piece of furniture for your home. The craftsman tells you it will take 6 months to build, for it must be carved, polished, perfected. Now, imagine you call him after 1 month, furious, saying, "Where is my table? You are late." Would that not be foolish? The craftsman would tell you, "It is not late. It is being perfected." If I delivered it today, it would be half finished. So it is with your blessings. They are being crafted in the unseen, polished and prepared. If they arrived too soon, they would be incomplete. Trust the divine craftsman. Your blessing is not late. It is being perfected. Some of you are afraid because you think of age. You say, I am too old. It is too late for me. But spirit has no age. Spirit is timeless, eternal, ever fresh. The moment you align with divine order, time is redeemed. Years you thought wasted become years of wisdom that prepare you for your blessing. Did not Sarah bear a child in her old age? Did not Moses begin his mission at 80? Age is no barrier to divine timing. The only barrier is unbelief. Cast away the lie that you are too late. You are ageless in spirit, and what is yours will come no matter the number of candles on your cake. Now, let me warn you gently. When you push against timing, you invite counterfeit blessings. Impatience makes you grasp at what is not ready, at what is not yours, and later you weep because it cannot last. Many marriages, many businesses, many ventures collapse because they were born of impatience instead of timing. The fruit was plucked too soon, and it rotted before it could nourish. Learn to wait. What is yours will not run away. What is not yours you do not want. Better to wait for the perfect door than to rush into the wrong one. Let me give you a practice. Each time you feel anxious, say aloud, there is no lateness in divine order. My good is on time. Repeat it until your heart believes it. Write it where your eyes can see it. Whisper it when fear comes in the night. Speak it when envy whispers that others are ahead. These words are not empty. They are laws. And when you affirm them, you shift from fear to faith, from panic to peace. Beloved, you have not missed your season. You have not fallen behind. The divine calendar still has your name written on it. Stop cursing your path with despair. Stop comparing your chapter to another's. Stop demanding fruit before it's ripening. Trust, wait, prepare, and affirm. In doing so, you will see that you were never late. You were always right on time. Beloved one, now that you have seen why men and women feel late, let us move deeper into the practice of alignment. It is not enough to understand timing. You must also tune yourself to it, as a violinist tunes her instrument to the perfect pitch. If she plays out of tune, even the sweetest melody sounds sour. So it is with you. If your heart is not aligned with divine order, you may speak affirmations, you may pray, but the sound will be dissonant. Alignment is harmony, and harmony draws blessings like a magnet. How do we align? The first step is stillness. The human mind races ahead. It clutches at tomorrow. It despairs at yesterday. But the spirit speaks only in the present moment. When you learn to be still, you place yourself on heaven's wavelength. A restless heart is like muddy water. You cannot see through it. But when you are still, the mud settles, and the clear water reflects the divine face. Each day, give yourself moments of stillness. Sit quietly, breathe, and repeat. I am on time in divine order. Do not rush these words. Let them sink into your bones. Let them carry you beyond the clock and into eternity. Next comes speech. I have said it many times. Your word is your wand. To align with perfect timing, you must speak only what you wish to see. Do not say, I am late. I am behind. I have missed my chance. These are spells, and the universe takes them as orders. Instead, say, what is mine cannot be delayed. My good arrives swiftly and surely, under grace and in perfect ways. If you will keep this decree on your lips, you will see how quickly your life shifts. For the tongue is not a small thing. It is the rudder that steers your ship. Speak delay, and you drift into storms. Speak divine order, and you sail into calm harbors. The third practice is trust in divine interruptions. Often what you call a delay is not a delay, but a redirection. You plan to go one way, and a door closes. You weep, you panic, you say, "I am late now." But what if that closed door saved you from harm? What if it opened the way to something better? Once a man told me he missed a train and cursed his misfortune. Later, he discovered that train derailed. What looked like delay was deliverance. Another woman was bitter because a job did not hire her. Months later, the company collapsed. What she thought was rejection was in truth protection. To align with timing, you must trust interruptions. Say not, "I am late," but "I am redirected. Spirit is leading me to my perfect path." Beloved, let us talk also of gratitude. Gratitude is oil on the gears of divine timing. When you thank God for what you have, you attract more. When you despise your portion, you repel your harvest. Gratitude is agreement with heaven. It says, "I trust the process. I honor my today, even as I wait for my tomorrow." Begin and end your day with thanks. Thank the air you breathe, the bed on which you sleep, the friend who calls your name. Thank even the waiting, for in the waiting your character is forged. Gratitude makes the waiting sweet, and when the blessing comes, gratitude keeps it pure. Another practice is imagination. The unseen always precedes the seen. Aligning with timing requires that you see yourself already in possession of the thing you desire. When you imagine, you claim your good in the invisible, and once claimed, the universe must deliver it in the visible. Suppose you are waiting for healing. Each night before sleep, picture yourself walking in strength, breathing with ease, moving with freedom. Suppose you are waiting for prosperity. See yourself giving generously. See yourself free from debt. See yourself at peace. This imagination is the receipt in advance. When you picture it, you prove to the universe that you know it is already yours. And the universe, being lawful, must honor your vision. Now let us speak of surrender. Some of you want to dictate to heaven not only what you desire, but when it must arrive. You say, "I need it by Friday. I need it by next year." And when it does not come, you declare yourself abandoned. This is not alignment. This is control. The pot does not tell the potter when to finish shaping it. The child does not tell the mother when to birth. To align, you must surrender your deadlines. Say instead, "This or something better under grace in perfect timing." This is the secret phrase. It opens the way for miracles. It saves you from demanding too little or too soon. It allows the universe to exceed your request. Do not confuse surrender with passivity. Some believe that to wait on timing means to do nothing, but no, waiting is active. While the seed is underground, the farmer waters it, weeds the soil, and prepares the barn for harvest. So must you act in faith. If you pray for a new home, keep your belongings in order as if ready to move. If you pray for a business, study, prepare, sharpen your skill. If you pray for love, grow in kindness and wholeness. These actions are not to force the blessing, but to prove you believe it is on the way. Faith without preparation is empty. To align with timing, you must act as if the blessing is already yours. I recall a man who desired a car. He prayed faithfully, but he also cleaned his garage, leaving space as if the car already stood there. He polished his old shoes, saying, "These will drive my new car." His friends laughed, but not long after, a perfect car came into his life in a most unexpected way. His preparation was proof of his faith. Spirit honors preparation, for it shows you believe in the unseen arrival. And beloved, let us not forget forgiveness. Unforgiveness is one of the greatest blocks to divine timing. When you clutch bitterness, you chain yourself to the past, and while you are bound to yesterday, you cannot step into tomorrow. Many of you say, I am delayed, but the delay is not heaven. It is the chain of resentment around your own ankle. Forgive not to excuse, but to release. Say, I forgive everyone who has harmed me, knowingly or unknowingly. I set them free, and I am free. When you do this, the heavy doors swing open, and blessings that seemed held back rush toward you. Forgiveness accelerates timing because it restores flow. Beloved, to align with perfect timing is not to control the hour, but to control your heart. It is to keep your speech in faith, your mind in vision, your actions in preparation, your spirit in gratitude, and your heart in forgiveness. When you live this way, you no longer fear delay. You no longer chase after time, for you know that time is on your side. You wake with peace, you work with joy, you wait with calm, because you know heaven has already signed the decree. Your blessing is on time. So today I charge you, practice stillness, guard your tongue, trust interruptions, give thanks, imagine the unseen. Surrender your deadlines, prepare in faith, forgive in love. These are not small things, they are great laws. If you live them, you will find that timing was never against you. Timing was always for you. You will walk into blessings not a day too soon, not a day too late, but in the exact moment you are ready. In the exact hour the world is ready, and in the exact second heaven has chosen. Beloved one, stories are the lamps by which we see truth in motion. A law may sound abstract, but when you hear how it has unfolded in the lives of men and women, your faith grows. For the testimony of one soul becomes the prophecy for another. What Spirit has done for one, Spirit is eager to do for you. Let me share with you the living proofs of perfect timing, for divine order is never late. I once knew a woman who longed for marriage. She prayed, she affirmed, she spoke her word faithfully. I am divinely irresistible. The right man is magnetized to me by divine order. Yet the years passed, and she grew weary. Friends married, children were born, and still she walked alone. One day she came to me in tears, saying, Miss Shinn, I have been forgotten. Surely I am late. I said to her, You are not late. Your demonstration is only being prepared. Do not dig up your seed in doubt. She returned home, and instead of despair, she gave thanks. She began to live as though her blessing were already hers, setting 2 places at her table, planning for companionship. Months later, at a gathering she nearly did not attend, she was introduced to a man who had just returned from abroad. They spoke as if they had known each other for lifetimes. Within the year, they were married. Looking back, she saw why the delay was necessary. The man had been overseas completing the very assignment that prepared him to return at the exact moment she was ready. If he had come sooner, he would have been unready. If she had met him later, their paths would have missed. But Spirit timed the meeting perfectly. What looked like delay was only orchestration. Another story. A young man desired work in publishing. He had talent, but every door closed. He knocked and no one answered. He came to me saying, I am behind. Others are advancing, and I am standing still. I said, Do not declare yourself late. Speak this instead. The right position is already mine, by divine order at the right time and place. He did so, though at first with trembling faith. One afternoon, a friend invited him to a lecture. He hesitated, for he thought his time was better spent chasing job leads. But he went, and in that hall he met the editor of a major firm. A conversation began, an opportunity was offered, and within weeks he held the position of his dreams. That meeting was not chance, it was timing. Had he been hired earlier, he would have been placed in the wrong role. Had he not attended that lecture, he would have missed his moment. Spirit was not late, spirit was exact. Beloved, you may think your life is delayed, but in truth, you are being positioned. Each pause is a placement. Each waiting is a weaving. Divine order is the great chess master, moving every piece so that when your turn comes, the board is in your favor. There was a woman who longed for a child. Doctors told her it was too late. She prayed with me, and I told her the age of spirit is ageless. Divine order knows no clock. Say, I am fertile in spirit. The right soul is sent to me in perfect time. She obeyed, though her faith wavered at times. Years passed. One morning her sister called, saying a child needed a home. A door of adoption opened effortlessly, and she embraced the child as her own. Later she told me, I see now. This was always my child. We simply had to meet in the right season. Divine order was not late. It was precise. Another story. A businessman lost everything in a failed venture. He was bitter, crying out that God had abandoned him. But I reminded him, there is no loss in spirit. What is yours cannot be taken. Say, I see divine compensation. Nothing is ever lost to me in divine order. He obeyed, though through clenched teeth at first. In time, a new idea came to him, one that never would have been born had his old business succeeded. He built it step by step, and it prospered beyond his imagination. Looking back, he said, had I held on to the first, I would have missed the greater. Spirit was never punishing me, it was positioning me. What he thought was delay was in fact promotion. Beloved, divine order is like a tapestry. From underneath, you see knots and tangles. From above, you see the pattern. You live underneath now, but trust that the pattern is real. Each delay, each detour is a thread being placed in perfection. I tell you also the story of a man who desired to travel. Every attempt failed, money fell short, doors closed. At last, when he surrendered and said, Spirit, I trust your timing, a friend unexpectedly offered him a ticket abroad. That journey led him to partnerships that changed his destiny. He told me later, if I had traveled earlier, I would have gone to the wrong place with the wrong company at the wrong time. Spirit was not withholding, it was preparing. Even in danger, timing reveals itself. One woman hurried one morning and missed her bus. She wept, thinking herself late. Yet that very bus collided on its route. Missing, it was not delay. It was deliverance. Spirit's clock is not your clock, yet it is always more accurate. Perhaps, dear one, you think yourself late in health. Your healing has tarried, your body is weary. Remember this, even illness may be the pause that leads to wisdom. I knew a man who, confined to bed, discovered writings and teachings he never would have sought otherwise. These shaped him, healed not only his body but his soul. Later he said, had I not been delayed in sickness, I never would have been advanced in spirit. Do you see, beloved? Every story whispers the same truth. Nothing is ever late. Spirit's calendar is not measured by human clocks, but by readiness. When the soil is ready, the seed breaks forth. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the soul is ready, the blessing arrives. So if you wait, do not curse the waiting. Do not declare yourself forgotten. Say instead, divine order governs my life. My good cannot be withheld. What is mine comes to me, swiftly and surely, under grace and in perfect ways. Speak it, believe it, live it. And one day, like those I have told you, you will look back and see the hand of perfect timing guiding every step. And when your testimony comes, share it, for your story will become another's prophecy. The law works not sometimes, not for some, but always and for all. Nothing is ever late in divine order. Beloved soul, now that you have seen the law of perfect timing, do not merely admire it, live it. For the law is not a philosophy to be pondered once and forgotten. It is a rhythm to be walked in every day, as surely as you walk to the beat of your own heart. The universe is a great symphony, and divine order is its conductor. To live in harmony with this law is to stop fighting the rhythm, to stop rushing ahead or lagging behind, and to step into the exact note, the exact beat, where your blessing is written. Let me tell you plainly, every morning you awake, you stand at the threshold of perfect timing. But most people miss it because their minds are racing with clocks and calendars, with fears of being too late or anxieties of being too early. They grasp, they chase, they push, and by doing so, they step out of rhythm. Beloved, you cannot wrestle your blessing into your hands, for it is not won by force. You receive it when you align with the rhythm of spirit. How then do you live in this rhythm? You begin by surrendering each day to divine order. The moment you rise, instead of rushing into worry, pause and speak, "Today I walk in perfect timing. Nothing is too soon, nothing is too late, everything unfolds under grace." These words are not idle, they are keys. Each declaration opens a gate of alignment. Then, walk through your day with listening ears. The voice of timing is gentle. Sometimes it says, "Wait." Sometimes it says, "Move now." Those who hear prosper. Those who ignore find frustration. I once told a student, Spirit's whispers are the difference between toil and ease, between wasted effort and divine success. Learn to trust that still small voice. Let me give you a practice. When you are uncertain, when fear of missing out grips you, take a breath and ask inwardly, "Is this my moment?" If peace follows, proceed. If unease lingers, wait, for unease is often Spirit's caution. Peace is Spirit's green light. And you will find, over time, that this practice saves you from countless wrong turns, wasted energy, and regret. Another practice is thanksgiving. Give thanks not only for what you see, but for what is yet unseen. Say, "I give thanks that everything I desire is already mine in spirit and appears at the right time." Thanksgiving is the invisible receipt of what is to come. It proves to the universe that you trust its delivery. You may ask, "But Florence, how do I endure the waiting?" Beloved, you do not endure it as a prisoner counts days. You live it as a gardener tends soil. The gardener does not dig up the seed daily to check if it grows. He waters, he trusts, he sings over his field, and in its time the bud breaks forth. So too must you water your dreams with faith, sing over them with affirmations, and trust that the soil of divine order is never barren. When impatience tempts you, remember this truth: what is rushed often withers, what is ripened in time endures. Consider the fruit plucked too early, it is bitter. Consider the fruit left to mature, it is sweet, so it is with every blessing. Spirit ripens your good, and when the day comes, it tastes of heaven. There is also the discipline of release. Release your rigid timelines, your desperate calculations, your human clocks. Say, "I release the need to control. I trust divine order." The more you grip, the more you delay. The more you surrender, the more swiftly Spirit moves. For the law of timing is not about speed, it is about alignment. And alignment often hastens what striving delays. Beloved, do not compare your clock with another's. Do not look at another's marriage, career, or healing and say, I am behind. For each soul has its unique appointment. What is theirs is not yours. What is yours cannot be taken, cannot be missed, cannot be lost. Say this daily: my blessing cannot be stolen, my time cannot be delayed, my season is sure. With such words, you break envy, you end fear, and you rest in certainty. Now hear me, even apparent delays are blessings. For in the waiting, Spirit trains you. A bird is not pushed from the nest before its wings are strong. If you leapt into your blessing too soon, it would crush you. Spirit waits until your wings are ready. So instead of despairing in delay, say, I am being strengthened for my season. I am being prepared for my appointment. I give you now affirmations to anchor this law in your daily life. I walk in divine order, and divine order walks in me. Every step I take is timed by Spirit. I am never late. I am never early. My blessing appears at the right time, in the right way, under grace. What is mine comes to me with speed and certainty, and nothing can prevent it. I trust the rhythm of the universe. I release all fear of missing out. I give thanks that perfect timing governs my health, my wealth, my relationships, my destiny. Speak these often. Speak them when fear rises. Speak them when delay seems long. Speak them when opportunity knocks. They will align you with the current of Spirit. And now, beloved, I leave you with this prophetic charge. Stop declaring yourself late. Stop cursing your season. Begin to live as though you are on time. Walk into every room as though you arrived precisely when you were meant to. Accept every encounter as divinely scheduled. Look at every seeming delay and say, even this is timing. For when you do, you will see miracles unfold. Remember, the law is not sometimes true. It is always true. Nothing in your life is wasted. Every moment is ordered. Every delay is protection. Every advance is preparation. Every opening is orchestration. When you see with Spirit's eyes, you will declare with me, nothing is ever late in divine order. So rise tomorrow with peace, walk today with trust, and close each night with thanksgiving, for your good is not rushing away from you. It is rushing toward you. At the exact moment, it will appear shining, undeniable, perfect. And when it does, may you lift your hands and say, surely the law is true. Divine order never failed me. Nothing was ever late. Everything was on time. Go now, beloved, and live not as one racing against the clock, but as one dancing with eternity. For you are already in rhythm. You are already in flow. You are already in perfect time. And so it is.
There is a law that governs the unseen, a law as certain as the rising of the sun and the flow of the river to the sea. This law knows no lack, no limitation, no delay. It is the law of divine supply, and it whispers now to your heart, huge money from God is on your way. Every soul is born into a kingdom of abundance, yet many walk in shadows of fear and scarcity. They look to the outer world for their provision, not knowing that the treasure house of infinite wealth lies within them. When one aligns thought, word, and expectation with divine truth, the channels of supply burst open and riches flow without hindrance. The universe cannot withhold that which is rightfully yours. Money is but a symbol, a messenger, a servant of Spirit. It is not to be feared, nor worshipped, but welcomed as a vehicle for joy, freedom, and service. When you affirm with unwavering faith that God is your source, money comes to you in expected and unexpected ways. The outer world rearranges itself. Doors swing wide, opportunities arise, and channels appear where none seemed possible. That which once seemed locked or hidden is suddenly revealed. The spoken word is the key that turns the lock. To speak lack is to invite lack. To To speak abundance is to summon abundance. Declare daily with conviction. Huge money from God is on its way to me now, in perfect ways. As you do, you are planting seeds in the soil of the infinite, and those seeds cannot fail to sprout. They grow in silence, beneath the surface of the scene, until the harvest comes forth in divine timing. Let no doubt or fear disturb your garden. Doubt is the thief of destiny, fear the shadow that obscures the light. Yet faith is the golden bridge over troubled waters. Stand firm in the knowing that all provision is yours by divine right. Refuse to be moved by appearances. The outer may seem barren, but the inner is already rich with supply. Release resentment, envy, and bitterness, for they block the channels of wealth. Bless the prosperity of others, and you quicken your own. Give freely where you are guided, for giving and receiving are one motion, like the in-breath and the out-breath. As you release, you make room to receive. As you bless, you invite blessing. Your wealth is not dependent upon persons, places, or circumstances. It comes from the inexhaustible source, which never fails, never tires, never ceases to pour forth. The world may shake, markets may falter, but divine supply stands unshaken. Anchored in this truth, you are unshakable too. Now open your heart wide, for huge money from God is already moving toward you. It travels on the wings of spirit, drawn by your faith, summoned by your words, magnetized by your vision. It comes not slowly, but swiftly, not meagerly, but abundantly. For divine law knows only plenty. The channels are opening, the doors are unlocking, the river is flowing. Stand ready to receive, for the riches of heaven are pouring into your life. Divine supply is unlimited, eternal, and unfailing. It does not bend to the measures of man, nor can it be diminished by appearances of lack or limitation. The human mind, trained by the world, has been conditioned to believe in shortage, in struggle, in the need to compete for survival, yet these are illusions that veil the great truth. Behind all forms and beyond all appearances lies the vast storehouse of spirit, overflowing with ideas, opportunities, and resources. This supply is infinite because its source is infinite. Just as the sun cannot run out of light, and the ocean cannot run out of waves, so divine supply cannot run out of wealth. It is endless, boundless, and always ready to manifest for the one who knows its law. When one lives with eyes fixed only on the outer world, one becomes entangled in appearances. The outer world says, "There is not enough." And so one begins to act as though poverty were a permanent condition. Yet the outer is but a shadow of the inner. The unseen governs the seen. To look to appearances is to anchor in the temporary, but to look to spirit is to anchor in the eternal. Divine supply does not depend upon markets, upon wages, upon the economy, nor upon the generosity of men. It flows through those channels, but it is never confined to them. The law of supply is free, it is creative, and it is limitless in its expression. A soul that grasps this truth begins to walk in freedom. No longer do they beg, plead, or grasp, for they understand that supply is already theirs, by right of divine inheritance. They stand tall in the knowing that the universe is their unfailing banker, their ever-present provider. The air one breathes is given in infinite measure. No one fears there will not be enough oxygen tomorrow, for the mind accepts without question that air is limitless. In the same way, wealth and provision are just as limitless. Yet because the mind has been trained to believe in scarcity, one must retrain thought to accept abundance as natural. Divine supply is not measured in coins alone. It expresses in opportunities, in right ideas, in inspired connections, in open doors that lead to wealth. Often, when a person prays for money, what they truly receive is an idea, a chance, a vision, or an introduction to someone who becomes a channel of supply. All of these are but expressions of the one source. Money itself is only one form of supply, a symbol of value, but the substance behind it is spirit. To trust spirit is to trust that whatever is needed will be given in perfect form and in perfect timing. When one speaks words of faith, affirming the presence of infinite supply, unseen forces begin to move. The word is the seed, and the law of supply is the soil in which it grows. The law cannot fail. Just as a seed planted in fertile ground must break forth in its appointed season, So too must the word of truth spoken with conviction bring forth supply in the outer. The harvest may come through unexpected means, for spirit is never bound to the limited channels the mind imagines. What seems impossible is only the mind's small vision, yet to spirit, the way is already prepared. To understand the limitlessness of divine supply, one must see beyond competition. The world teaches that for one to gain, another must lose. This is the law of man but not the law of spirit. In truth, there is enough for all. When one draws from infinite supply, nothing is taken from another, for each soul has their own direct connection to the source. No two can clash for the same portion, because the portions are without end. This realization dissolves envy and fear. Instead of resenting the prosperity of others, one rejoices. For their abundance proves the law works, and what is possible for one is possible for all. Those who live in alignment with divine supply walk in confidence. They do not chase after wealth in desperation, for they know that wealth comes to them by right, not by force. They act when guided, they move when prompted, but they are never driven by fear. Their steps are orderly, their choices inspired, their actions fruitful. The world may look at them and say they are lucky, but in truth they are simply aligned. They trust the invisible more than the visible, and so the invisible shapes the visible in their favor. The mind that accepts divine supply as unlimited is a magnet to wealth. It does not push it away with doubt, nor block it with fear, nor delay it with resentment. It attracts with ease, for like draws to like. Thoughts of abundance draw abundance, while thoughts of lack repel it. This is not mere wishful thinking, but the operation of divine law. Just as a magnet does not struggle to draw iron, but simply does so by its nature, so the one who lives in the consciousness of unlimited supply draws wealth by spiritual law. There is a vast difference between hoping for supply and knowing supply. Hope is uncertain, tinged with doubt, often laced with fear. Knowing is firm, steady, unshakable. To know that supply is unlimited is to rest secure, no matter what appearances scream. Even if the purse is empty, even if the outer account seems bare, one who knows smiles calmly, for they understand that the appearance is but a shadow, and the reality of supply is already on the way. This knowing dissolves worry, for worry is faith inverted, faith placed in lack instead of abundance. By turning faith toward the source, one becomes a master of circumstances instead of a victim of them. Divine supply flows most freely through channels of gratitude and generosity. Gratitude acknowledges the infinite storehouse, and generosity keeps the channels open. When one clings tightly to what they have, believing supply is limited, they choke the flow. When one gives freely, guided by spirit, they affirm trust in the law, and more supply rushes to fill the vacuum. Giving and receiving are not opposites. They are one continuous flow, one rhythm of spirit. To give is to receive, and to receive is to give, for in both motions the infinite is affirmed. The spoken word creates wealth, for words are not empty sounds drifting into the air, but living forces clothed in vibration. Every word released carries a seed of power, and each seed takes root in the unseen before manifesting in the visible. When one speaks words of lack, fear and limitation, they unknowingly plant a harvest of poverty. When one speaks words of faith, abundance, and supply, they plant the harvest of wealth. The universe does not question whether the word is wanted or unwanted. It simply mirrors back the vibration that has been spoken. This is why the tongue is the rudder of destiny, steering life into prosperity or into lack according to the words spoken with belief. The mind shapes thought, and the thought takes on life when clothed in speech. Thought alone is powerful, yet when expressed in words it is amplified and given direction. Words are commands to the subconscious mind, and the subconscious obeys without resistance. It does not argue, it does not reason, it only accepts. If one continually declares, "I never have enough," or "money is hard to come by," the subconscious will set about creating circumstances to prove those words true. Yet if one declares with authority, "Huge money from God is on its way to me now," the subconscious takes that declaration as law and begins aligning outer events to bring it forth. There is no neutral word. Every utterance builds or diminishes, opens or closes, blesses or curses. Idle talk of struggle, gossip about poverty. Constant rehearsing of worry, these are seeds of weeds that choke the garden of wealth. Many people unconsciously speak against their own prosperity, not realizing that their words are creating the very conditions they resent. They beg for money in one breath, but complain of bills in the next. And so their words cancel each other, leaving them trapped in a cycle of want. The wise soul watches the words that pass their lips, for they know each word is a decree shaping the substance of life. The ancient law is simple: call those things that be not as though they were, and they will be. This law does not fail. To speak of prosperity as if it were already present is to magnetize prosperity. To continually declare, I am rich in supply, I am prosperous in every way, money flows to me freely and easily, is to establish a vibration that attracts wealth like iron to a magnet. It may not be seen in the first moment, for words are seeds and seeds require time to sprout, but the harvest is inevitable. The spoken word has already set the unseen into motion, and unseen forces are arranging the visible world to reflect the decree. Some will say, I cannot speak wealth when I see lack all around me. Yet this is precisely why the spoken word is necessary. Words are not meant to describe the present appearance, they are meant to shape the coming reality. To declare only what is seen is to remain bound by it. To declare what is unseen is to call it into being. The spoken word lifts the soul above appearances and anchors it in truth, and truth always overcomes illusion. Lack is an illusion sustained by repeated speech and thought. Abundance is the reality waiting to be spoken into form. When one speaks words of wealth, they must speak with faith, not with wavering. A half-hearted declaration tinged with doubt carries little power. Words clothed in conviction, spoken with the certainty that divine supply never fails, are like thunderbolts that pierce through resistance. The tone, the belief, the inner assurance, all are part of the creative act. Just as a king issues a decree and knows it will be carried out, so must one issue words of wealth with royal authority, knowing the universe is compelled to obey. Affirmations are not empty rituals but spiritual weapons. They cut down the weeds of doubt, they break the chains of fear, they reprogram the subconscious, and they summon wealth from the unseen. Repetition engraves them into the mind until they become second nature. The one who persistently affirms abundance eventually speaks it as their truth, not as a wish. At that moment, the spoken word has become creative fire, and the manifestation of wealth is unstoppable. The spoken word also reaches beyond the self, for vibration influences all it touches. Words of prosperity spoken over business, over work, over creative endeavors, infuse those channels with the energy of success. Words of blessing spoken over money in hand multiply its power to attract more. To say, every dollar I spend returns multiplied, every seed I sow grows tenfold, is to release money with faith instead of fear, and in faith, it always returns increased. Even the smallest action, when clothed in the right word, becomes a seed of wealth. There is great danger in careless speech, sarcasm, complaint, constant rehearsing of failure. These are invisible debts that pile up in the unseen, only to be paid later in disappointment. The world may laugh at the power of words, but those who understand spiritual law guard. Faith opens channels, fear blocks them. Faith is the invisible bridge that connects the soul to the limitless supply of spirit. It is the golden key that unlocks doors which, to the natural mind, appear bolted and barred. Faith does not depend on evidence of the senses, it does not demand proof before believing, it simply knows. It affirms abundance when the purse is empty, it declares provision when the cupboard looks bare. It stands calm in the storm because it sees beyond appearances. Faith is the creative force that draws to itself the very substance of what it claims. It does not strain, it does not grasp, it simply rests in the certainty that what is sought is already given. Fear is the opposite vibration, a shadow that closes every door. Fear looks at appearances and accepts them as final. It says, there is not enough, there will never be enough, everything is against me. It paralyzes the soul, clouds the mind, and blocks the flow of divine supply. Fear contracts, and what contracts cannot receive. Faith expands, and what expands is ready to be filled. Fear is the voice of the world, trained from childhood, whispering of shortage, struggle, and lack. Faith is the voice of spirit, speaking quietly but firmly, declaring, "All that you need is already yours." The two cannot rule together, one must be chosen and the other dismissed. Faith is a channel, an open conduit through which divine supply flows. Imagine a mighty river, endless and abundant, seeking always to pour into your life. Faith is the open channel cut into the riverbank, directing the flow straight into your field. The wider the channel, the greater the flow. Fear, however, is the stone that blocks the channel, the dam that prevents the waters from reaching their destination. The river has not dried up. It has not disappeared, but the blockages prevent its movement. Remove the stone of fear, and the waters of supply rush forth again, as though they had never ceased. When one walks in faith, they act as though the provision were already in hand. They make choices from abundance, not from scarcity. They give freely, they speak boldly, they move forward without hesitation. This confident movement stirs unseen forces into alignment. Opportunities appear, people are drawn, ideas come, and channels open. Faith does not sit idle, waiting for perfect circumstances. It steps forward knowing that circumstances will rearrange themselves to match the vision. Faith is the assurance that divine law never fails, and so every step is steady, unshaken by delay or obstacle. Fear whispers constantly, reminding the mind of past failures, projecting images of disaster, magnifying small troubles into mountains. It breeds hesitation, and hesitation closes the doors of opportunity. Many have lost their provision not because the supply was absent, but because fear blinded them to the channel through which it was coming. Fear causes one to turn away from the very path that leads to wealth, doubting, second-guessing, and sabotaging the manifestation that was already in motion. Fear sees only obstacles, while faith sees only possibilities. Faith is not mere wishing, nor is it blind hope. It is a deep knowing, an inner conviction that what is unseen is more real than what is seen. It rests in the eternal, not in the temporary. To cultivate faith is to train the mind away from appearances and toward truth. This training comes through the spoken word, through affirmations of abundance, through meditation on the infinite nature of divine supply. As one repeats the truth, the mind begins to accept it. The heart begins to believe it, and soon faith becomes the natural state. At that point, supply flows unhindered, for the channel is wide and clear. Fear feeds on repetition just as faith does. The more one rehearses fear, the stronger it grows. Speaking constantly of lack, of debt, of shortage, is to feed fear until it rules. To break the grip of fear, one must replace its words with words of faith. Every fearful thought can be met with a declaration of truth. Every anxious picture can be replaced with a vision of abundance. Over time, the repetition of faith weakens fear's hold, dissolves its power, and clears the channels once more. Faith aligns with divine timing. It does not rush impatiently nor collapse in despair when the answer is not immediate. Faith knows that the seed grows in the hidden soil before breaking through the surface. It trusts the process, confident that the unseen work is already complete. Fear, however, demands instant results and panics when they are not seen. In panic, it digs up the seed, interrupts the process, and delays the harvest. Faith allows the process to unfold in perfect order, and because of this, the harvest is sure. Those who walk in faith carry an atmosphere that others can feel. They radiate calm even in uncertainty. They speak words that uplift, they inspire confidence in those around them. Their presence alone opens channels, for faith attracts opportunities and people respond to the vibration of assurance. Fear radiates the opposite, it spreads worry, doubt, and discouragement, and opportunities shrink away from it. One who understands the law of vibration guards against fear, not only for their own sake, but because their fear can close channels for those around them. Faith does not require great size, only sincerity. Even the smallest spark of true faith is enough to set the law in motion. The channel need not be wide at the beginning, once opened. The flow of supply will enlarge it. Each act of faith increases its strength. Each victory, no matter how small, builds confidence. And soon faith becomes unshakable. Fear, though loud and insistent, has no true power when met with steadfast faith. It dissolves like mist before the sun, and in its place, the flow of abundance rushes unhindered into the life of the believer. Giving and receiving are one motion, like the in-breath and the out-breath. They cannot be separated, for each depends on the other. The rhythm of life is constant circulation, an endless flow where what goes out must come in, and what comes in must go out again. To attempt to clutch, to hoard, to grasp tightly in fear, is to interrupt this rhythm, and what is interrupted begins to stagnate. Just as a pool of water that has no outlet grows full, so does wealth that is withheld in fear lose its vitality. But when one gives freely, guided by spirit, the flow continues, the circulation remains open, and the law ensures that what was given returns multiplied. Giving is not loss but sowing. Every gift is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the infinite. A seed does not vanish when placed in the ground. It multiplies and comes back as a harvest far greater than itself. The farmer who plants does not mourn the seed buried in the earth, for he knows it is not gone but growing. In the same way, one who gives in alignment with spirit does not fear loss, for they know that the act has set in motion the law of increase. Giving without fear is the highest form of faith, for it declares that divine supply is unlimited and that there is always more on its way. Receiving is as sacred as giving. Many can give but cannot receive, for they feel unworthy, ashamed, or guilty. Yet to refuse to receive is to break the rhythm. Just as surely as refusing to give, the in-breath cannot exist without the out-breath, and abundance cannot flow if one blocks half the cycle. To receive with gratitude is to honor the giver, to honor the law, and to affirm that one is worthy of supply. Every gift accepted joyfully strengthens the flow and opens the channel wider for greater blessings to come. The law does not measure by size but by spirit. A gift given grudgingly, no matter how large, carries little power, for it is tainted by fear. A gift given joyfully, no matter how small, carries great power, for it vibrates with faith and love. Spirit sees not the coin but the consciousness in which it is given. The widow's mite, given in trust, outweighs the treasure given in pride. To give rightly is to give without expectation of return from the person or place to which it is given, but with the certainty that the universe itself returns it in perfect form. There is no loss in true giving, for what is given away comes back transformed. Money given may return as opportunity, as healing, as unexpected provision, as favor from unexpected quarters. The form may change, but the essence remains, multiplied and enriched. Those who understand this law never fear to give, for they know every gift is an investment in divine abundance. They understand that to cling is to shrink, but to release is to grow. The one who withholds in fear declares by their action, "There is not enough. I must hold tightly, or I will lose." This belief shuts the door to abundance, for it denies the nature of infinite supply. The one who gives declares, "There is always more, for I live in a universe of plenty." This belief opens the floodgates, for it affirms truth. The law always mirrors belief, and the outward always reflects the inward. Giving and receiving extend beyond money. A smile, a kind word, a helping hand, a blessing spoken over another. These are also seeds, and they too return multiplied. The universe is finely tuned to the vibrations of the heart, and whatever is released must circle back. To give joy is to receive joy. To give encouragement is to receive encouragement. To give resentment or bitterness is to receive the same. The law is perfect and impartial, delivering to each according to what they have released. Generosity is freedom. When one gives, they free themselves from the chains of fear, from the grasping spirit that clutches in anxiety. Each act of giving says, "I am not bound by lack, I am not ruled by money, I am free." This freedom itself is prosperity. For the truly rich are those who live unchained by fear. And because freedom vibrates at the level of abundance, it attracts more of its kind. The generous always find themselves provided for, not because of chance, but because they are aligned with the rhythm of the law. Receiving, too, requires humility. To accept help, to allow gifts, to open the hands without resistance is an act of faith. Pride often refuses to receive, thinking it must stand alone, but pride closes the channel just as surely as fear. The soul that receives with gratitude magnifies the blessing and keeps the circulation alive. Gratitude multiplies the harvest, for it adds energy to what has been received and sows it again into the field of spirit. The circulation of giving and receiving is seen everywhere in nature. The tree gives oxygen and receives carbon dioxide. The river gives its waters to the sea, and the clouds return them as rain. The body breathes in and breathes out, the heart pumps and receives, the seasons flow in endless cycles. To interrupt this circulation is death, but to flow with it is life. So it is with abundance. To participate in giving and receiving is to participate in the very rhythm of existence. Every act of giving sets a vibration in motion. That vibration cannot end with the act itself, it must complete its cycle by returning. Those who give secretly, quietly, without thought of return, find themselves unexpectedly blessed, for the law never forgets. Those who give with calculation, seeking to manipulate, find their gifts return empty, for their motive breaks the harmony of the rhythm. Pure giving, born of love and trust, creates pure receiving, born of grace and ease. The law of circulation is unchangeable. It cannot be bribed, cheated, or bent. One may hoard for a season, but stagnation will show itself. One may withhold in fear, but lack will follow. One may give freely, and the return will come in ways beyond imagination. The law is impartial, exact, and eternal, and those who live in harmony with it walk in the certainty that giving and receiving are not two, but one eternal motion. Money flows from source, not circumstance. Circumstances are shifting, unstable, and temporary, but source is eternal, unchanging, and infinite. Many souls bind themselves to appearances, believing that their livelihood depends upon a job, an employer, a business, or a market. They look to outer conditions as their provider, and when these conditions shift, they are thrown into fear and despair. Yet these outer channels are only instruments, they are not the source. The river is not the spring. The paycheck is not the supply. The true supply flows from the invisible, and it is the invisible that sustains every visible form. When one learns this truth, they are freed from bondage to circumstances. They no longer tremble when jobs are lost, when markets fall, or when doors close, for they know that their wealth does not originate in these things. They understand that new channels will always open, for the source never ceases. To rely on circumstances is to live as a beggar of chance. To rely on source is to live as an heir of the infinite. The world may shake, but the one anchored in source stands steady, knowing that divine supply cannot be interrupted. Money is but a symbol, a representation of substance. Its forms change constantly: wages, investments, business opportunities, inheritances, gifts, ideas. These are channels, and channels come and go. To cling to one channel in fear is to cut oneself off from the endless variety of ways spirit can provide. The open soul releases attachment to the channel and trusts the source to bring forth new and greater ways. When one door closes, it is only to make way for another, wider and more fitting to the need. Those who panic at a closed door reveal that they were trusting the door, not the infinite that stands behind it. Source is inexhaustible. It is the storehouse of all creation, the fountain that never runs dry. Every idea of wealth, every form of provision, every opportunity that has ever existed flowed first from this infinite well. The human mind often believes it must labor, struggle, and strive to create supply. Yet the truth is that supply is already finished in spirit and simply awaiting manifestation. The one who aligns with source does not need to force or beg. They need only to tune their consciousness to the frequency of abundance, and the flow is released. Circumstances are mirrors of consciousness. If the consciousness is fixed on lack, circumstances will reflect lack, no matter how much effort is expended. If the consciousness is fixed on abundance, circumstances will rearrange themselves to reflect abundance. often in ways that seem miraculous to the reasoning mind. This is why two people in identical conditions can experience opposite outcomes. One thrives, while the other struggles. The difference is not in the outer, but in their recognition of source as the true supply. To know that money flows from source is to release fear. Fear arises only when one believes they are dependent on limited channels. If a job seems to be the only lifeline, fear clings tightly, desperate to preserve it. If an investment seems to be the only chance, fear obsesses over its fluctuations. But when one knows the source, they remain calm. For they understand that wealth can appear through 1,000 avenues, and if one closes, another opens instantly. The infinite does not delay, nor does it run dry. Fear melts away when the heart rests in this truth. Money from source comes often in unexpected ways. The human mind, limited in imagination, expects provision only through familiar paths. But source is creative, unlimited, and boundless in expression. Money may come through ideas, through new ventures, through the kindness of others, through sudden opportunities, through inventions, through discoveries, through doors never before considered. The one who clings to circumstances cannot see these new paths, but the one who trusts source is always alert, open, and ready to act when new channels appear. This understanding dissolves envy and resentment. Many look at others who prosper and imagine that their prosperity has stolen something from them. But if supply flows from source, there is no competition. One person's wealth does not diminish another's, for the fountain is infinite. There is enough for all, and more than enough. Resentment is born of the belief in limited supply, but when the truth of infinite source is grasped, resentment transforms into blessing. To bless the wealth of another is to align with the vibration of wealth, and in blessing, one draws wealth to oneself. Money that flows from source is pure and free. It does not come tainted with fear, with struggle, with dishonesty. It flows easily, harmoniously, and in right order. Circumstances may bring money through questionable means, but such money carries no blessing and soon slips away. The wealth that flows from source carries peace, for it is grounded in divine law. It enriches not only the receiver, but all who are touched by it. It circulates, blesses, multiplies, and returns again. To live by circumstances is to live in bondage. To live by source is to live in freedom. The one who lives by circumstances is always watching, worrying, reacting to changes in the outer world. The one who lives by source walks calmly, steadily, confidently, knowing that the flow is continuous, regardless of appearances. They may witness storms around them, but within they remain at rest, for they are anchored in the eternal. Money is not to be feared nor worshipped, but to be recognized as a servant of spirit. As a servant, it obeys the consciousness that directs it. When the consciousness is aligned with source, money flows in perfect ways and right measure. When consciousness is bound by fear of circumstance, money becomes a tyrant, ruling through anxiety and scarcity. Freedom comes when money is placed in its rightful role, as the symbol of abundance, flowing endlessly from the source of all. The practice of aligning with source begins within. It begins with affirming daily that God is the unfailing provider, that divine supply never ceases, that money flows freely from the infinite. It is strengthened by releasing attachment to any single channel, by blessing the flow wherever it appears, and by remaining open to unexpected ways. It grows as one practices gratitude for every gift, great or small, for gratitude magnifies and multiplies. Each act of faith, each word of truth, each moment of trust clears the channel wider, until wealth flows without obstruction. To know that money flows from source, not circumstance, is to live above fear, above doubt, above uncertainty. It is to walk in a world that changes and crumbles, yet remains steady in abundance. It is to understand that no person, no job, no market, no government holds your wealth, but only spirit, and spirit, being infinite, never fails.
You have been taught to believe that abundance is something you earn, but it is something you remember. The universe is not holding your blessings back. It is waiting for you to recognize that you are made of the same infinite substance it is. You are not outside the flow. You are the flow. The universe is infinitely abundant, and so are you. I draw from the infinite supply of the universe. There is no lack in divine mind. Beloved, take a deep breath and open your heart. You are not separate from the universe. You are made of the same infinite light that created it. The universe is infinitely abundant, and so are you. Every wave, every tree, every breath of air is proof that life never stops giving. There is no lack in divine mind. There is only endless supply. You were not born to chase what already belongs to you. You were born to remember that the source that made you has already prepared everything you will ever need. When you understand this, you stop reaching outward and start receiving inward. You stop begging and you begin allowing. You stop waiting and you start trusting. Say softly now, I am a divine magnet for wealth. Money seeks me out and flows to me freely. I am one with the infinite supply of the universe. Every time you speak these words, you awaken the truth within your being. You begin to feel the current of abundance flowing towards you, invisible but unstoppable. The more you affirm it, the more real it becomes. You are surrounded by provision, even when you cannot yet see it. You are supported by unseen forces that move according to your faith. Say softly, there is no shortage in the universe. There is enough for everyone, and more than enough for me. When you believe in limitation, you shrink your world. When you believe in infinite supply, your world expands to meet your faith. You are not waiting for your blessing. Your blessing is waiting for your permission. And the moment you give thanks for it, the moment you stop worrying about how it will come, it begins to move. Say gently, I release all fear of lack. I trust divine order to provide everything I need in perfect time and perfect ways. The universe has never stopped multiplying. Every tree bears countless seeds. Every river flows endlessly toward the sea. Every sunrise gives new light without asking for payment. That same law lives in you. You are part of the pattern of plenty. You were designed to receive easily and give joyfully. When you give, you do not lose. You activate circulation. When you bless what you have, you invite more of it. When you thank life for what you see, you draw in what is still unseen. This is the secret of infinite supply. It moves toward gratitude, peace, and expectation. Say softly, I live in divine flow. Everything I need is already prepared. I draw from the infinite storehouse of the universe. You do not need to force or struggle to make things happen. You only need to align with what already is. The law of supply is eternal, constant, and generous. It does not choose favorites. It simply responds to faith. So when you wake each morning, speak to your world with confidence. Thank you, universe, that I am fully supported. Thank you that money flows to me freely. Thank you that I live in an abundant world. Every word of gratitude becomes a command. Every calm thought becomes a bridge between the unseen and the seen. Every time you affirm abundance, the old belief in scarcity begins to fade. Say softly now, I am one with infinite supply. All channels are open. All doors are unlocked. Everything that belongs to me by divine right flows to me easily, freely, abundantly, and under grace. You are the vessel through which the universe expresses its generosity. You are the channel through which divine energy becomes visible. You are the living proof that heaven's storehouse never runs dry. And when you speak from this knowing, not from need, but from certainty, your life begins to mirror the wealth of your inner world. You no longer question when it will happen. You no longer wonder if you are worthy. You know that the same light that made the stars has already lit your path. You know that you cannot miss what is meant for you. And you know that the universe is infinitely abundant. And so are you. Say softly one last time, I am the evidence of infinite supply. I live in a universe that never runs out. All that I desire flows to me in perfect order, under grace, and in divine timing. And so it is. Beloved, lack is not real. It is a shadow, an illusion, a passing thought that has no power except the one you give it. There is no lack in the universe. There is only flow, endless, infinite, divine. Every time you believe in shortage, you step out of the river of supply. But the moment you return to faith, the current carries you again. Say softly, there is no lack in divine mind. I am supplied with everything I need and more. Again, there is no lack in divine mind. A lack is the language of fear. Abundance is the language of truth. When you say, I don't have enough, the universe echoes your words. But when you say, I live in overflow, the universe rushes to fulfill it. You are not at the mercy of the world. The world is shaped by your belief. Say softly, I dissolve every thought of not enough. I replace it with faith in infinite supply. Every fear of loss is a fog that hides your blessing. Every doubt about your worth delays your miracle. But the moment you choose to believe again, the fog clears, and what was always yours appears. You were never meant to live in survival. You were meant to live in creation. You were not sent here to worry about what you will eat, wear, or earn. You were sent here to remember that the universe provides for all who trust. Say softly, I am free from the illusion of lack. I see only abundance. Everything I desire is already prepared. When you look at life through eyes of fear, everything seems small. When you look through eyes of faith, everything expands. The same opportunity that looked impossible begins to unfold. The same delay that felt heavy begins to reveal divine timing. The same situation that seemed closed begins to open. You are not a victim of lack. You are a creator of plenty. And creation begins in the mind. You think it, you speak it, you feel it, and then you see it. Your thoughts are blueprints, and your emotions are the builders. Whatever you dwell upon, you invite into form. Say softly, I speak abundance. I live abundance. And so, abundance appears everywhere I go. The energy of lack whispers, there is not enough for everyone. The truth says, there is more than enough for all. The energy of fear says, if I give, I will lose. The truth says, when I give, I expand. The energy of worry says, what if it doesn't happen? The truth says, it is already done. Beloved, every time you affirm truth, illusion dissolves. You are not changing the universe. You are remembering how it already works. Abundance does not begin outside you. It begins in your consciousness. The more you expect good, the more good rushes to meet you. The more you bless what you have, the more it multiplies. The more you trust, the faster it flows. Say softly, I trust the process of divine supply. I live in perfect circulation of wealth, peace, and opportunity. There is no need to force. There is no need to chase. What is meant for you cannot be kept from you. Your only task is to align your thoughts with truth. When you do, everything begins to rearrange itself in your favor. When your energy says, I am safe. Money, your heart says, I'm worthy, doors open. When your spirit says, I am one with abundance, miracles unfold. Say softly, I release fear. I release doubt. I release worry. I am one with abundance now. You are not meant to chase money. Money is meant to follow your peace. You are not meant to beg the universe. The universe is meant to respond to your faith. You are not meant to compete for supply. You are meant to cooperate with it. Because there is no competition in infinity. There is only creation. There is only flow. There is only the quiet that what belongs to you will arrive, and nothing can stop it. Say softly one last time. The illusion of lack is gone. I see only abundance. I live in infinite supply, and all that I need flows to me now. And so it is. Beloved, everything in this universe moves by the law of circulation. What flows lives. What is held in fear begins to fade. Money is not meant to be clutched. It is meant to move. Love is not meant to be stored. It is meant to be shared. Faith is not meant to be silent. It is meant to speak. Every blessing multiplies through movement. Say softly now, I am part of divine circulation. I give freely, I receive abundantly, and my supply never ends. Again, I give freely, I receive abundantly. When you hold back, you interrupt the rhythm of life. When you give in faith, you invite multiplication. Every act of generosity sends a message to the universe. I trust that there is more. And the universe always responds to trust. Fear says, hold tightly. Faith says, let go. Fear says, what if it never returns? Faith says, it always comes back multiplied. Your choice determines your flow. Say softly, everything I give returns multiplied. Every good I send out comes back with increase. My giving creates my receiving. Think of money like a river. When the river flows, it stays alive, sparkling, fresh, renewing. But when you block it, it grows stagnant. So it is with your blessings. Every time you release money in peace, paying bills, giving gifts, supporting others, you are saying, I am not afraid. I trust divine supply, and that trust turns every dollar into a seed that grows. Say softly, I pay in peace. I give with joy. I release with faith. Beloved, money is energy. It listens to the vibration of your emotion. When you spend with fear, it leaves quietly. When you spend with love, it returns with friends. When you give with gratitude, it grows roots in your life. That is how circulation becomes creation. You were never meant to live by hoarding. You were meant to live by harmony. You were never meant to clutch what you have. You were meant to trust what flows through you. You are not the owner of supply. You are the channel through which supply moves. And the clearer the channel, the faster the flow. Say softly, I am a clear channel of abundance. Money flows through me freely and returns abundantly. Again, money flows through me freely and returns abundantly. Every time you give with peace, you declare your faith louder than your fear. You prove that you trust the law of divine compensation. The universe cannot help but refill what you release. It rushes to fill every open hand, every open heart, every open mind. Beloved, there is no loss in giving. What leaves your life through love always returns multiplied. What is released in fear is gone, but what is released in faith becomes your harvest. This is the sacred cycle. Give, receive, grow, give again. Say softly, I give because I am rich. I receive because I am open. I expand because I am free. Every generous act aligns you with divine rhythm. Every grateful payment anchors you in abundance. Every blessing you send out blesses you twice, once when you give it and once when it returns. So bless every transaction. Bless every bill. Bless every exchange. Say to yourself, as this leaves my hands, it multiplies in the universe and returns in perfect ways. You are never losing. You are circulating. You are never decreasing. You are preparing for increase. Beloved, abundance flows in waves. When you breathe out, you make space to breathe in. When you release, you make room to receive. When you trust, you make room for miracles. This is the law of life, and life never stops moving. Say softly, I am in rhythm with the universe. I give with ease. I receive with grace. I live in endless circulation of good. Feel how peaceful that truth is. No resistance, no fear, only flow. You are not waiting for prosperity to arrive. You are standing in the middle of it. You are not chasing blessings. You are breathing them in and out like light. And the more you flow, the more the universe flows through you. Say softly one final time, I live in divine circulation. I give in love, I receive in abundance, and my supply is infinite. And so it is. Beloved, words begin creation, but emotion completes it. You can speak of abundance all day, yet if you feel fear within, your vibration stays closed. To call in abundance, you must feel abundant. To attract wealth, you must vibrate wealth. Your emotion is the magnet. Your peace is the proof. Your joy is the signal that tells the universe, I am ready. Say softly now, I feel rich in spirit, therefore riches appear in form. Again, I feel rich in spirit, therefore riches appear in form. Every time you speak those words, your body begins to remember the truth. You were never meant to chase what you can become. You were meant to embody it. When you walk with peace, you invite prosperity. When you smile with gratitude, you unlock divine doors. When you wake with faith, you create momentum in the invisible. Because the universe is emotional before it is material. It listens not only to your words, but to your vibration. Say softly, my emotions are magnetic. When I feel peace, I attract provision. When I feel joy, I attract increase. When I feel gratitude, I attract miracles. Let those words sink into your heart. Every emotion you choose becomes a signal. Fear says, I do not trust. Faith says, it is already done. Anxiety says, I must make it happen. Peace says, it is happening for me. Beloved, you cannot rise into wealth while carrying worry. You cannot open to blessing while holding on to fear. So release it now. Release the need to control. Release the story of struggle. Release the idea that success must be earned through exhaustion. You are not rewarded for suffering. You are rewarded for believing. Say softly, I am calm, confident, and connected to abundance. Again, I am calm, confident, and connected to abundance. Each time you speak that, your nervous system relaxes. Your body begins to align with your spirit. Your mind quiets. And that silence becomes the doorway through which manifestation enters. Beloved, abundance is a frequency, not a formula. It cannot be forced. It can only be felt. The moment you feel the joy of already having it, the universe moves mountains to match your vibration. You do not chase it, you call it by emotion. Say softly, I feel abundant now. I feel safe now. I feel worthy now. And because I feel it, it comes. Imagine yourself already living in your answered prayer. See your home filled with peace. See your table overflowing with purpose. See your days radiant with purpose. See your account blessed, your family smiling, your mind serene. The more real it feels within, the faster it becomes real without. This is the divine secret, to prepare your heart for what you ask for. If you feel fear, you are preparing for delay. If you feel faith, you are preparing for delivery. Say softly, I prepare for my blessings with joy. I expect miracles with gratitude. I receive abundance with ease. Every word becomes a seed. Every emotion becomes water. Together, they bloom into the garden of your reality. So tend to your inner garden with love. Speak life into your emotions. Turn doubt into excitement. Turn fear into readiness. Turn waiting into gratitude. The universe responds to the emotion of completion. When you feel as though it is already done, you become irresistible to the outcome. The unseen begins to arrange itself in your favor. And what once felt far begins to feel natural. Say softly now, I am one with abundance. I am aligned with peace. I am tuned to prosperity. Again slower, I am tuned to prosperity. Beloved, you are not manifesting something outside of you. You are amplifying what already lives inside of you. Every emotion that peace lifts you closer to your miracle. So when you wake, choose joy. When you give, choose love. When you wait, choose gratitude. For every choice of love multiplies supply. Say softly as your decree, my joy is my magnet. My peace is my wealth. My gratitude is my proof. Let that truth fill your whole being. Because the more you feel rich before the riches, the sooner they arrive. The more you feel loved before the love, the faster it finds you. The more you feel worthy before the reward, the quicker it appears. This is how you align emotion with abundance. You feel first, and faith follows. You believe first, and blessing follows. You give thanks first, and overflow follows. So, right now, whisper softly, the universe is infinitely abundant, and so am I. I feel it, I know it, I trust it, and I live it. And as you breathe those words, your vibration becomes the very thing you desire. You are not waiting for wealth. You are walking as wealth. You are not asking for abundance. You are radiating abundance. And everything aligned with that frequency is already making its way to you. And so it is. Beloved, gratitude is the language of faith. It is the sound the soul makes when it knows that everything it has prayed for is already on its way. Gratitude is not something you wait to feel after the miracle. It is what summons the miracle in the first place. When you give thanks before you see results, you are saying to the universe, I trust the unseen. You are declaring, it is already done, and heaven moves faster for the heart that is thankful without proof. Say softly now, I give thanks for everything I have, and for everything that is coming. Again, I give thanks for everything I have, and for everything that is coming. Each time you speak those words, your vibration rises. Gratitude melts resistance. It dissolves fear. It opens the gate between the invisible and the visible. When you are thankful, you become magnetic. The universe leans closer to the grateful heart and says, Here, take more. Beloved, gratitude is the master key to every door. It multiplies what you bless. It expands what you appreciate. If you bless your finances, they grow. If you bless your body, it heals. If you bless your time, it stretches. If you bless your past, it releases power. Gratitude does not just change how you feel. It changes what you attract. Say softly, I bless what I have. I bless what I am. I bless what is on its way. Again slower. I bless what I have. I bless where I am. I bless what is on its way. When you live in gratitude, you stop asking, when will it come? You begin saying, thank you that it's already here. And that shift turns waiting into receiving. Because the energy of thank you is the energy of completion. Beloved, many people pray with their mouths but doubt in their hearts. They speak words of faith but feel emotions of fear. But gratitude unites the two. It makes your prayer one with your vibration. It turns your hope into certainty. Say softly, I am grateful now, therefore abundance appears now. Again, I am grateful now, therefore abundance appears now. A gratitude is proof that you believe in divine timing. When you thank the universe in advance, you declare that the law is already working. And when you know the law is working, the law works faster. Faith without gratitude is incomplete, because gratitude is faith in motion. Every time you open your eyes in the morning, whisper, thank you for another day of divine supply. When you eat, say, thank you for this food that reminds me of endless provision. When you work, say, thank you for the gift of service and the reward that follows. And when you rest, say, thank you for perfect peace. Beloved, gratitude is not a reaction. It is a creation. You do not need things to go right before you give thanks. You give thanks, and then things go right. You do not wait for proof, you bless your life. You bless your life, and proof appears. Say softly, I thank before I see. I bless before I hold. I believe before I receive. Again, I believe before I receive. The energy of thankfulness is the energy of wholeness. It tells the universe, I lack nothing. And the universe, always obedient, responds, then let there be nothing missing. That is how miracles are multiplied. Beloved, gratitude also heals the past. When you thank every experience, even the difficult ones, you transform their vibration. You stop carrying pain and start carrying wisdom. You stop saying, "Why did that happen to me?" and begin saying, "That happened for me." Gratitude turns into wisdom, and wisdom into wealth. Say softly, "I thank the lessons of my past. I bless the blessings of my present. I celebrate the miracles of my future." Again, I celebrate the miracles of my future. Each time you say, "Thank you," your aura brightens. Your energy field expands. You become more magnetic to good, to peace, to prosperity. Because gratitude is love wearing the clothes of faith, and love, beloved, is the highest vibration in the universe. Say softly now, "I am thankful for everything, seen and unseen. I am thankful for every answered prayer and every lesson disguised as delay. I am thankful because I know the law always works in my favor." Gratitude makes you a magnet for miracles. It tells heaven, "I am ready for more." And heaven never disappoints a grateful heart. Beloved, from this day forward, let thank you be your constant prayer. Let it be your morning song and your evening whisper. Let gratitude be your first response, your last thought, your daily rhythm. Say softly one last time, "I am grateful before and after my blessings. My gratitude multiplies my good. I live in the overflow of divine supply." Feel that truth sink deeply into your spirit. Because the moment you thank life for what you have, life gives you more to thank it for. And the moment you bless your world begins to bless you back. Beloved, abundance is not something you wait for. It is something you walk in. You do not become abundant by thinking about wealth. You become abundant by acting like wealth already lives within you. Every step, every decision, every word can affirm abundance or affirm lack. The choice is always yours. Say softly now, "I move like one who already has." Again, I move like one who already has. When you act from abundance, you stop asking, "Will this work?" and begin saying, "This is already working." You stop questioning how and start affirming now. You stop hesitating and begin trusting. Because action is the evidence of faith. Faith without movement is waiting. Faith with movement is creation. Beloved, every time you spend money in peace, you are acting from abundance. Every time you give with joy, you are declaring, "There is more where that came from." Every time you walk boldly toward your vision, instead of away from it, you prove that you believe in divine supply. Say softly, "I give freely, I receive abundantly, and my supply is endless." Again slower. My supply is endless. You see, abundance does not come to the one who waits, it flows to the one who moves with faith. When you act as though you already have what you desire, the universe rushes to match your vibration. It does not wait for perfect plans or perfect timing. It responds instantly to certainty. Beloved, your action is your prayer in motion. Every choice either expands your flow or restricts it. When you choose generosity, you multiply circulation. When you choose fear, you freeze it. So act like the river, not the dam. Keep your flow open, and life will keep pouring through you. Say softly, "I act with confidence. I trust every inspired idea. I move when my spirit says move." Every inspired nudge that rises from peace is divine guidance. When you obey that quiet direction, you align yourself with opportunity. The doors you've been knocking on suddenly open, not because you forced them, but because you finally matched their frequency. Beloved, you are not waiting for wealth. Wealth is waiting for your movement. You are not waiting for faith. Faith is waiting for your yes. You are not waiting for miracles. Miracles are waiting for your obedience. Say softly, "I am ready. I am willing. I am moving in faith." Each step you take with confidence sends a message to the universe. "I believe." And the universe replies, then receive. That is how the law works. Faith expressed through action becomes magnetism. Beloved, acting from abundance does not mean spending carelessly or pretending. It means moving wisely, peacefully, with trust in divine timing. It means giving when guided, resting when told, speaking when inspired. It means no longer living from fear of not enough, but from the certainty of endless supply. Say softly, everything I give returns multiplied. Everything I release makes room for more. The more you practice this truth, the more your reality begins to shift. You will notice unexpected gifts, divine appointments, and unseen support appearing just when needed. Because abundance loves motion. It meets you halfway, but never while you stand still, so start where you are. Take one faithful step today. Write the plan, make the call, give the gift, speak the word, and let that movement prove your belief. Say softly, I move in confidence. I act as the universe acts, freely, fearlessly, faithfully. Beloved, every small action aligned with faith builds momentum. Every gesture of trust sends ripples through the unseen. When you treat money with peace, you attract more. When you treat opportunities with gratitude, they expand. When you act like you already belong to abundance, you become one with it. You are no longer waiting for signs. You are the sign. You are no longer hoping for favor. You are walking in it. You are no longer wondering if the universe will support you. You are proving that it already does. Say softly now as your decree. I live from abundance. Not for it. I act from faith, not fear. Every move I make is blessed. Every step I take is guided. Everything I do is multiplied under grace and in perfect ways. Feel those words take root in your being. They are no longer affirmations. They are declarations. They are permission slips to the universe, saying, I am ready to receive what I have already spoken. Beloved, you were never meant to chase. You were meant to create. You were never meant to wait. You were meant to walk. You were never meant to hope for provision. You were meant to flow with it. So today, act as if your abundance is already complete. Smile as though every desire is answered. Give as though every dollar returns multiplied. Speak as though every word carries creation. Because when you act like abundance, you become abundance. Say softly one final time, the universe is infinitely abundant, and so am I. My faith moves mountains. My actions open doors, and my abundance flows endlessly. And so it is. Beloved, now you are ready. You have remembered the truth that was written in your soul since the beginning of time. That you are not separate from the universe. You are the universe expressing itself as you. The same life that moves the oceans moves in your veins. The same intelligence that formed the stars is guiding your steps. The same energy that grows the flowers grows your dreams. You are not a visitor in the field of abundance. You are its heartbeat. Say softly now, I am one with the infinite. I am one with divine supply. I am one with every good and perfect gift. Again, I am one with the infinite. Feel those words, not as sentences, but as truth vibrating through every cell. You have never been lacking. You have only been learning. You have never been waiting. You have only been awakening. You have never been separate. You have only been remembering. Beloved, the universe is not outside of you. It is within you, flowing through you, responding to you. Every thought you think moves through its current. Every feeling you hold colors its frequency. Every word you speak echoes through eternity, returning to you multiplied. Say softly, universe and I are one force of creation. When I speak, it answers. When I move, it aligns. When I believe, it delivers. You are not small, beloved. You are not forgotten. You are not limited by circumstance or time. You are eternal consciousness, wrapped in form. You are the vessel through which the divine experiences its own expansion. Look at the stars. Do they compete to shine? Look at the ocean. Does it fear running dry? Look at the sun. Does it beg to rise? No, beloved. They all follow their nature, and so must you. Your nature is abundance, is wealth. Your destiny is peace. Say softly, I align with my divine nature. I am abundant by design. I am prosperous by purpose. As you speak, your energy field begins to glow. You start to feel lighter, calmer, more whole. That is the universe recognizing itself in you. A mirror finally clear, a channel finally open. Every limitation begins to dissolve. Every false story loses power. You are no longer the one who begs for blessings. You are the one who blesses. You are no longer the one who seeks miracles. You are the one through whom miracles flow. Say softly, I am the channel of divine abundance. I am the expression of infinite love. I am the proof that heaven lives on earth. Every breath you take is creation in motion. Every heartbeat is wealth pulsing through your being. Every moment of gratitude expands the world around you. Because abundance is not something you reach, it is something you remember and radiate. Beloved, wealth is not what you have, it is what you carry. It is the calm in your spirit, the faith in your words, the love in your giving. It is the confidence that no matter what changes, your source remains unshaken. You are safe. You are supplied. You are surrounded by favor. Say softly, everything I desire already belongs to me. It comes to me freely, easily, abundantly. Under grace and in perfect. Freely, easily, abundantly, under grace and in perfect ways. This is your declaration of oneness. The old identity of fear, worry, and lack is gone. The new identity of peace, faith, and overflow has risen. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg. You command. You no longer hope. You know, say softly, I am not separate from abundance, I am abundance. I am not seeking wealth, I am wealth. I am not waiting for miracles, I am the miracle. Beloved, the more you speak this truth, the more your world will rearrange itself to match it. People will appear. Doors will open. Ideas will flow. And what once felt delayed will suddenly arrive with divine precision. Because heaven cannot resist a soul that remembers its worth. Say softly one final decree, I am one with divine supply. The universe and I move as one. All that I need, all that I desire, and all that belongs to me flows to me now. Freely, abundantly, and forever. Feel those words breathe through you like light. You are no longer separate from your blessings. You are living inside them. You are no longer looking for abundance. You are the living proof of it. The universe is infinitely abundant, and so are you. It has never stopped flowing. It has only been waiting for your remembrance. And now, beloved, you remember. You are aligned. You are one with the infinite. And so it is. Forever and ever, so it is.
The world handed you a script from the moment you took your first breath. It said, this is your role, the striver, the worrier, the one who earns her keep by the sweat of her brow. It taught you the language of can't afford and not yet, and maybe one day. It showed you a steep and treacherous mountain called success and told you to start climbing, warning you that most fall before they ever reach the top. The world told you your worth was something to be proven, a prize to be won through endless effort and sacrifice. It taught you to look for your value in the reflection of other people's eyes, in the numbers on a paycheck, in the tangible evidence of a life hard lived. But somewhere deep within you, in that silent, sacred space beneath the noise of conditioning, your soul refused to learn the lines. It rejected the script it was handed, knowing it was a forgery, a story too small for the truth of who you are. Your spirit, the eternal, unbreakable part of you, has always held a different story, a truer script, a script written not in the ink of limitation, but in the light of infinite possibility. It has been whispering to you your entire life, in moments of quiet reflection, in the ache of a dream that would not die, in the persistent feeling that there must be more than this. It whispered that you were not born to audition for abundance, but to authorize it. Not to climb the jagged mountain of man, but to speak the word that commands mountains to move. Your spirit has always known, with a certainty that defies all earthly logic, that you were not created to be a mere reflection of your circumstances. You were created to be the cause. You may believe you are here, in this moment, to learn a new technique, a spiritual trick to fix a life that feels broken or lacking. But let me speak the truth that lives beneath that desire. You are not here to fix anything, for you were never broken. You are not here to become someone you are not. You are here to remember the staggering power you already are, a power that has simply been turned against you by a story you were taught to believe was your own. There is one law, just one. It is the invisible scaffolding upon which your entire reality is constructed. It is not the law of effort, or the law of the economy, or the law of luck. It is the law of belief, which is the law of the spoken and unspoken word. A law so simple, yet so profound, it can dismantle a lifetime of perceived limitation in a single, breath-filled moment of understanding. This law states that your inner world, the secret, sacred landscape of your deepest convictions, your silent conversations, your most practiced assumptions, is the living blueprint from which your outer world is meticulously, unfailingly built. You are not living in the world. The world is living in you. This is not a beautiful metaphor. It is the sacred mechanics of creation. It is the physics of the soul. And whether you are aware of it or not, you are wielding this immense power in every moment. You are the architect, the artist, the queen of your inner kingdom, and your outer world is simply the faithful reflection of your reign. The only question, the one that changes everything, is this. Now that you know you are the builder, what will you consciously choose to build? The great spiritual teacher Florence Scovel Shinn, a woman whose wisdom feels both ancient and electrifyingly modern, wrote these life-altering words. The subconscious mind is the faithful servant of man, but it must be carefully directed. Let those words land in the deepest part of you. A faithful servant. Imagine, living within the temple of your being, a presence of unimaginable power and creative energy. This presence is your subconscious mind. It is the master weaver at the loom of your life, its hands moving silently and ceaselessly. It is the fertile, dark, and mysterious soil of the garden of your soul, capable of growing anything. But more than that, it is the high chancellor of your inner kingdom, the silent, tireless executor of divine law in your personal universe. This servant, this chancellor, is utterly devoted to you. Its loyalty is absolute, but it has one defining characteristic. It is completely impersonal. It has no opinion of its own. It holds no preference for your joy over your sorrow. It does not discern between what is good for you and what is harmful to you. It cannot tell the difference between a belief that will lead you to a life of expansive freedom and one that will lead you to a prison of your own making. Its only function, its only sacred, unwavering duty, is to accept the instructions you give it, your beliefs, your words, your deepest feelings, and then move heaven and earth, seen and unseen, to bring them into physical form. Your beliefs are not just thoughts. They are binding legal decrees in the courtroom of your own consciousness. It is the garden. Your beliefs are the seeds. It is the courtroom. Your beliefs are the verdicts. It will receive a seed of self-doubt and, with meticulous care, cultivate a sprawling forest of disappointment and missed opportunities. It will receive a seed of unworthiness and, with profound dedication, grow a thick, thorny hedge of rejection and loneliness. It will receive a seed of financial fear and, with unwavering focus, produce a barren harvest of just enough and never quite there. And it will do so with the same fidelity and creative power it would use to grow a seed of abundance into a magnificent, sun-drenched orchard. A seed of love into a breathtaking, fragrant rose garden. A seed of peace into a serene and endless meadow. The servant only knows how to obey. The garden only knows how to grow what is planted. The chancellor only knows how to enforce the law you have written. Let us bring this cosmic truth down from the stars and walk it through the familiar rooms of your everyday life. Let us turn on the lights with gentleness and compassion and see the handiwork of your own inner law. Let us see the fingerprints of your own unconscious decrees on every surface of your experience, not to induce shame, but to inspire awe at the power you have always possessed. Think of the woman who, in the quietest, most hidden chambers of her heart, holds the unexamined belief that she is fundamentally unlovable. This is not merely a sad thought. It is a binding inner contract she signed long ago. Perhaps the contract was written in a moment of childhood rejection or co-signed by a culture that profits from her insecurity. The core statute in her personal law book is clear. I am destined to be alone. True, lasting, safe love is for other people, and by law, it is denied to me. Consciously, on the surface, she yearns for partnership. She tells her friends she's ready to meet someone. She curates the perfect dating profiles, reads the relationship books, and goes through all the socially prescribed motions. She may even stand before her mirror and try to pass a new amendment. I am worthy of great love. But the subconscious mind, the powerful weaver, the high chancellor of her inner kingdom, has already received its core pattern. It has heard the deeper, more practiced, more emotionally resonant belief that hums beneath the surface of her waking thoughts. And so, with tireless devotion, it begins to weave a reality that perfectly, tragically, matches that pattern. It enforces the law she unknowingly wrote. It subtly adjusts her perception, her very vision, making emotionally unavailable or critical partners seem magnetic, challenging, and exciting. They are a perfect energetic match for the law of rejection she carries within her. It filters out the kind, stable, and loving souls, making them seem boring or triggering a sense of suspicion because their kindness doesn't match her inner template. Their gentle energy is in violation of her inner constitution of struggle. In moments of genuine intimacy, when love begins to feel real and safe, her subconscious, in its misguided attempt to uphold the law and protect her from the anticipated pain of abandonment, floods her nervous system with anxiety. It whispers the old, familiar lies which sound like legal precedents. This won't last. Get out now. Run before he has a chance to see the real you and leave you. And so, she sabotages the very intimacy she craves, pushing love away with criticism or distance, all to prove her deepest fear, her own inner law, correct. Her outer world becomes a flawless, heartbreaking reflection of her inner decree. She looks at the landscape of her romantic life, a repeating pattern of almosts, maybes, and painful endings, and says with a heavy, knowing sigh, "See, I knew it. Love always leaves." She believes she is a wise, albeit wounded observer of a harsh and unforgiving reality, never suspecting that she is its author, its director, its lead actress in a play written, produced, and starring her own powerful belief system. Now consider the brilliant, wildly capable woman who holds a core belief, often inherited from her family line, that her value is directly proportional to her exhaustion. The primary instruction given to her subconscious, the first article in her personal constitution is, I must overwork to be worthy. Rest is a dangerous indulgence, a crime punishable by failure. My place at the table must be earned again and again, every single day. And so, the faithful servant, her loyal chancellor, obeys. It magnetizes into her life opportunities that demand she sacrifice her well-being, her sleep, her peace of mind. It attracts bosses and clients who instinctively sense her lack of boundaries and take full advantage. It fills her calendar until there is not a single sliver of white space left for her soul to breathe, to wander, to simply be. When she dares to try and rest, her mind races with a phantom sense of guilt, her inner prosecutor presenting its case, flooding her with a low-grade, persistent panic that she is falling behind, that she is being lazy, that she will be found out as an imposter. She climbs the corporate ladder, collecting accolades and titles like armor, but the feeling of enough, the feeling of being truly secure and valued for who she is, remains a perpetually receding horizon. Her body holds the score, the chronic tension in her shoulders, the persistent fatigue that no amount of coffee can touch, the quiet hum of anxiety that has become her constant companion. She looks at her life, a monument to her own relentless effort, and says, "This is just the price of ambition in today's world." She doesn't see that she is not a victim of a demanding world, but a loyal and devoted servant to a punishing and changeable inner creed. And of course, let us speak of money, the area of our lives so charged with inherited fear, collective shame, and profound misunderstanding. Think of the soul who grew up in a home where the very air was thick with financial anxiety. Phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "We can't afford that," and "Rich people are greedy and corrupt" were not just words. They were spells. They were potent, energetic instructions, carved deeply into the soft, impressionable clay of a child's mind. The core blueprint handed to the subconscious, the first articles of her financial constitution became, "Supply is scarce, it is difficult to obtain, it causes stress, and I am fundamentally separate from its flow." This person may grow up to be incredibly hardworking, intelligent, and resourceful. They may do all the right things. But the faithful servant, the chancellor of her reality, has its orders. And so, it orchestrates a reality of just enough. A beautiful, unexpected bonus arrives at work, and within a week, the transmission on the car inexplicably fails, costing the exact amount of that bonus. An exciting, high-paying job opportunity seems like a sure thing, only to vanish at the final hour for a reason that makes no logical sense. The flow of money in their life feels like a cruel and exhausting dance of one step forward, 1.5 steps back. When they look at their bank statements, they feel that familiar, sinking feeling in the pit of their stomach, a feeling of resignation, of being trapped on a treadmill they cannot escape. They sigh and tell themselves, "This is just my luck. I'm just not good with money." They have tragically mistaken their self-imposed inherited blueprint for an unchangeable and absolute destiny. Your health, your career, your relationships, your sense of self. It is all the same law, the same weaver, the same loom. It is all the same kingdom, the same throne, the same ruler. You. And here is the most liberating, most hope-filled, most profoundly important truth you will ever embrace. You are not broken. You were never broken. You are not cursed. You are not a victim of fate, or luck, or circumstance. You are, and have always been, a creator of unimaginable power who has simply been creating unconsciously. You have been the queen who walked through her own palace, weeping over the dust and the disarray, forgetting that the crown was upon her head and the royal scepter was in her hand all along. You have been the master gardener, standing in a field choked with weeds, heartbroken over the meager harvest, forgetting that it was your own unconscious hand that scattered those seeds season after season. This moment, this sacred breath you are taking right now, is not a moment for shame. It is not a time to grieve the years spent building a life from old inherited blueprints. All of that was necessary. All of that was the curriculum your soul designed to bring you to this exact, sacred threshold of awakening. This is the moment of remembrance. This is the moment of reclamation. The realization that you are already the lawmaker is the master key that unlocks every door. It is the moment you stop pleading with the world to change and begin issuing new decrees from the throne of your own consciousness. The power was never out there. It was never in that job or that relationship or that number in your bank account. It was and is and always will be the quiet, unwavering conviction you hold as law within you. You are already the architect. Now, you get to consciously, joyfully choose what you build. And so, the sacred work begins. Not with more struggle, but with more stillness. Not with force, but with the focused, loving authority of a benevolent ruler. We do not need to wage war on our old beliefs. That would be like shouting at the weeds in the garden. It only gives them more of our energy. We simply need to write new laws that render the old ones obsolete. This is a daily practice, a sacred rhythm of sovereign becoming. It is simple in its execution, but it is not always easy, for it requires a radical act of faith, the willingness to trust the reality you are building in the unseen more than the reality you are currently witnessing with your eyes. Let us begin this beautiful work with 3 simple sacred steps. Step 1. The loving illumination. For the next 7 days, you are to become the loving historian of your own inner kingdom. Imagine you are an anthropologist of your own soul, observing with loving curiosity, not with judgment. Keep a small notebook with you or use the Notes app on your phone. Your work is to simply listen to the unconscious laws as they are read aloud in the court of your mind throughout the day. When an unexpected bill arrives in the mail, what is the very first unfiltered thought that flashes through your mind? Is it, "Here we go again, there's never enough"? See it not as a feeling, but as an old statute being read aloud. Write it down, verbatim, the law of not enough. When you look in the mirror, what is the quiet, almost inaudible whisper beneath your conscious thoughts? Is it, "You look tired. You're not worthy of being seen today"? Recognize it as the law of unworthiness. Write it down. When envy strikes, see it as the law of comparison and lack being enforced. Write it down. Do this without judgment. You are simply bringing the old dusty law books into the light. This act of seeing is the first step to rewriting. You cannot overturn a law you do not know is on the books. Step 2. The sacred veto. As you become more aware of these old laws, your next practice is to exercise your sovereign right to veto them. This is not a struggle. It is a calm, firm, and final declaration of your authority. The moment you catch an old law, "I'll never get out of this debt," do not fight it. Simply pause, take one deep breath, place a hand on your heart, and say, silently or aloud, with the quiet power of a queen, "I see you, old story. I see this old law. I acknowledge its past influence, and by the power vested in me as the sovereign of this reality, I veto this law. It is no longer in effect." This simple, sacred act is revolutionary. It disarms the old belief. You are not arguing with the old law. You are rising above it. You are stepping into your throne and calmly informing your High Chancellor that a new legal precedent is being set right now. Step 3. The new divine decree. This is the joyful part. This is where you step fully into your power as the conscious creator. This is where you legislate your new reality. After you have vetoed the old law, you must replace it with a new one. This is done through the power of declaration, of affirmation, of speaking a higher truth into being. But please understand, these are not hopeful wishes whispered into the void. They are not fake it till you make it performances. They are edicts. They are legal pronouncements. They are powerful statements of what is now and forevermore true in your kingdom. Because you, the sovereign, have declared it so. You are not trying to convince a reluctant universe to give you something. You are simply, finally, aligning your personal law with the universal truth of abundance, love, and wholeness that has always been your birthright. Your affirmations should be spoken in the present tense, as established law. They should be spoken with feeling, with a quiet, grounded conviction. In the style of the great spiritual masters, they are not requests. They are declarations of law. Here are a few to serve as your first acts of new legislation. Speak them with authority. The law of divine supply. By divine law, I am infinite supply in full expression. Every channel of my good is open. Every door gives way. All that is mine now comes to me, for my word is the law of its appearing. The law of divine love. I am a radiant center of divine love. Therefore, the unbreakable law of attraction now brings to me my perfect counterpart. We are drawn together by divine right, under grace, in perfect, harmonious ways. The law of divine wholeness. My body is the temple of divine life. Therefore, every cell functions in its perfect divine order. I decree and declare the law of radiant health and inexhaustible energy as the only law governing my physical being now. The law of divine purpose. There is a divine plan for my life, which I now decree into manifestation. I am guided into my true place, where I give my perfect gifts and am met with perfect compensation. My word makes my way prosperous and successful. Choose one decree. Write it. Speak it. Let it be the first law you read in the morning and the last one you review at night. Let it become the constitution of your new reality. You are not pretending. You are not wishing. You are remembering. You are realigning. You are legislating your new reality into existence. And now, a gentle and crucial word of encouragement for the sacred journey ahead. For as you begin this practice, as you start to issue these new decrees from your inner throne, the outer world may not transform overnight. In fact, at first, it might feel as though nothing is happening. Or worse, it may feel as though the old challenges are intensifying. You may declare your divine supply with conviction, and the very next day receive a larger than expected bill. You may affirm your worthiness for love, and then experience a painful moment of feeling overlooked or rejected. This is a critical, sacred juncture on the path. It is the very point where most people abdicate their throne. They look at the outer evidence and say, with a heavy heart, "See, it's not working for me." And they retreat to the familiar, painful comfort of their old reality. Please, I implore you, hear me now with the deepest part of your being. The slowness of outer change, or even the temporary intensification of old conditions, is not a sign of failure. It is irrefutable proof of a profound and successful inner shift. Think of it this way. You have been sailing a massive ship in one direction for decades. When you decide to turn, you go to the helm and you turn the wheel. But the ship, with all its momentum, does not pivot instantly. It continues to drift in the old direction for some time, even as the inner rudder is shifting its course. The waves of your old reality will continue to lap against the side of the ship for a while. Your job is not to panic and turn the wheel back. Your job is to hold the wheel steady in the new direction, knowing with unshakable faith that the ship is turning. Or think of the garden. When you decide to plant a new crop, you first must till the soil. You must pull up the old, stubborn roots of the weeds. This process is messy. It churns up the dirt. For a time, the garden looks worse than it did before. This is what is happening in your life. As you introduce a new belief, the old, contrary beliefs are churned up to the surface to be seen, to be felt, and to be released. The unexpected bill, the moment of rejection, these are not new problems. They are the old roots coming to the surface for final removal. Do not be discouraged by them. See them for what they are. Evidence that your healing is working. Evidence that your new law is taking effect. This transition period is not a test of your strength from a distant God. It is a loving invitation from your own soul to deepen into your faith. And faith is not an emotion. It is a spiritual posture. It is a calm, unwavering decision to trust the law you have decreed in the unseen, even when the visible world has not yet caught up. Hold the vision. Speak the new truth. rule not by sight, but by decree. The outer world, by divine law, has no choice but to eventually reorganize itself around your new conviction. We have arrived, you and I, at the heart of the matter, at the sacred precipice of your coronation. You have seen the mechanics of the law. You understand, on a soul level, that your life is a perfect living mirror of your deepest beliefs. You now hold the scepter of awareness in your hand. The time for living as a subject in a kingdom you unconsciously created is over. You are not broken, and you never were. You are simply remembering the truth of who you are. You are not flawed, and you never were. You are simply awakening from a long collective dream. The radiant, magnificent essence of who you are is and has always been perfect, whole, and eternally connected to a source of infinite love, boundless intelligence, and inexhaustible supply. The only thing that has ever appeared to stand in your way is a collection of old, dusty, second-hand beliefs. Beliefs that were never truly yours to begin with. They were hand-me-downs from anxious parents, frightened societies, and a world that had forgotten its own divine nature. Today, you ascend the throne. Today, you pick up the scepter of your own word. Today, you begin to rule in love. Your High Chancellor, your faithful and powerful subconscious mind, is not just a servant. It is the royal scribe of your soul, its quill poised over the book of your life. For years, it has been dutifully building a world based on old, fearful, and limited instructions. But now, it turns to you, its true and rightful leader, its beloved sovereign, awaiting its new commission. It is ready to codify a reality overflowing with abundance. It is ready to ratify a reality of deep, authentic love. It is ready to legislate a reality of vibrant health and joyful purpose. It only needs you to give the word. So I invite you now, not as a simple exercise, but as a sacred act of coronation, as a powerful declaration to your own soul and to the universe that you are ready to rule. Make this your first public decree. Go to the comments below and write these words with the full weight of your intention. I am the conscious author of my reality. My word is now law. Let this be your anchor, your unbreakable covenant, a public declaration that today you are no longer a subject of your life, but its loving, wise, and powerful sovereign. The universe does not ask for your perfection. It asks only for your conscious command. The only question that truly matters is not if you are the queen, but what will you, in your infinite power and compassion, now decree into being?